Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
Bet David.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I
it.
don't think I've ever said this before.
We have a special guest in the house, one of the biggest MAGA spokesperson out there in the world, hardcore MAGA. Now a capitalist. He runs a very successful business now after leaving MSNBC. He's crushing it. But it's great to have you on the podcast today, Mehdi Hasan.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. And, you know, obviously I've been watching you for many years, and we reached out. We said, let's invite him on board. And then Rob said, Mehdi said yes. I said, this is great.
It took a long time to get to yes, but I'm here.
Yes. So what took such a long time?
I don't know.
What were you worried about? Were you afraid
I don't know. We'll
of
find
sitting
out
with a
today.
capitalist? Is it like this guy's gonna be?
I don't know. I've seen your show. It's an entertaining show. I know it's a very different format today. I don't know. I'm intrigued as to what we're going to talk about today.
And I'm genuinely interested in learning your story.
Okay.
So tell me your story, your background.
My background is, if the accent didn't give it away, I'm a British American. I'm a
Yes.
dual national, British American citizen, citizen of both great countries, born and raised in the UK. My parents, immigrants from India, moved to the UK in the 60s.
What part of India?
South India, Hyderabad.
Okay.
Best biryani in the world.
Best beer?
Biryani.
Biryani.
Yeah.
That's the best beer.
I'm not going to be the guy who gives you beer
Best beer.
recommendations.
Okay, got it.
So
I went to Mumbai. 8 years ago, and I spoke at IIT Institute.
Oh yeah, it's big.
Incredible experience.
Incredible place.
Yeah.
But Hyderabad has better food. So I have to say that as a Hyderabadi. So my parents moved in the 60s and 70s to the UK. I was born in 79. I think we're similar in age. And I moved to the US 12 years ago, come February. So it's been over a decade I've been here. Became a citizen in 2020, been a journalist all my life.
What do you prefer? UK or, and I know, listen,
Oh, this
Mom's
is a
watching,
controversial question.
Just ask me. I don't want to upset Mom, so you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
They both have their brilliance. I go back to the UK all the time. I'm heading out there next week. I get to go for work and pleasure, and I love going back to the UK. But the US, I got to say, the US has given me opportunities and open doors that even the UK I don't think could have done.
Really?
And I think you hear that from a lot of black and brown folks from the UK. Because I'm someone who's criticized racism, obviously,
Sure.
in the UK and in the US. But what's interesting is you talk to people in the media space, entertainment space. You look at someone like Idris Elba. You look at someone like my good friend, my old school friend, Riz Ahmed, Oscar-winning, Emmy-winning actor. They've all talked about how when they came to the US, they got more opportunities than they got in the UK.
Why do you think that is? Is it just capitalism? Is it just business? Is it incentives?
I think there's also, I mean, the country is a bigger country. I think we can sometimes forget when we live here how this is a continent of a country.
Yep.
So just geographically, space-wise, there's more places to just do things. The UK is very heavily concentrated around London, right? The entire country, to the great consternation of people in Manchester, Birmingham, the entire economy is centered around one city. Politics is centered around Westminster in London. And I think there's also, in England, we don't have the legacy of, you know, plantation slavery and the black struggle for civil rights in the US, but we do have a different kind of legacy of empire and that form of, history to overcome. I don't know what the right word I'm looking for, like staid, stodgy. It's just a kind of an old way of doing things. You hit a different kind of glass ceiling in the UK. I'm not giving a pass to old kinds of racism and bigotry there still is in the US that we're still fighting with. But there is something about being a person of color and just having a little bit more ambition in the US is going to get me in huge trouble
Look at
with
the two of
people.
us.
I'm screwed now when I go back to the UK next week if this airs before the next.
Both of us are brown and winning in America, which is a good thing.
Yes, from different parts of the political
That's right.
divide. I think
That's
fair to
right.
say.
By the way, in high school, if I was in high school with you, you're 15, 16, who's Mehdi Hasan? What were you doing?
I was the same person I am now. I was a debater. I was an arguer. I was the guy with the big mouth. I was the guy getting thrown into the hallway. I was the guy going to detention because I answered back. I talked a lot.
Teachers, students, didn't matter.
I found report cards recently that my children and I sat and went through. It was really embarrassing. My daughter sat with me. We went through the report cards. Every single one is, he doesn't stop talking. He answers back. He thinks he knows everything. He won't stop asking questions.
Is that a family thing or is that a youth thing?
It's a family thing, for
Okay,
sure.
got it.
Yeah, I wrote about it in the book. My father passed away last year.
Sorry to
He
hear.
was thank you. He was a very disputatious individual. Loved to debate, loved to argue, super provocative. Even in the Muslim community, the story I tell, remember in the late 80s, you'll remember this because you're of Iranian heritage, Ayatollah Khomeini gives the fatwa against Salman Rushdie for
Yes,
satanic
of course.
verses.
Yes.
Muslims in the UK are furious, especially in the UK, more than
By the way,
anything.
he helped them sell millions of copies by doing
Indeed,
that. Yeah.
indeed. So listen to this. So in Bradford, big Muslim city in the UK, they even burned copies of the satanic verses. Got huge issue we could talk about another time. But anyways, huge issue in the UK. My dad goes out and buys a copy of the satanic verses, reads
As a Muslim?
as a Muslim, and puts it on our dining room bookshelf right next to the table. So every time our friends, family come over for dinner, it's there. And people are saying to my dad, what the hell are you doing here? Why do you have satanic verses on your bookshelf? And my dad said, have you read it? I said, no. I said, well, how do you know what to object to about it? And I think that attitude of his, which was quite provocative at the time, and even till his death, he was known as a provocative individual. I think I borrowed a lot of that. The ability to be able to ask questions, be offensive if need be provocative if need be. Don't give a shit what people think. If you need to ask the right questions, you need to say what you want to say. That very much comes from my father, from my household growing up. My sister is also a journalist. We very similar in that sense. About
Was
asking
he a
questions.
journalist or no?
No, he wasn't, but he was very political. He was a very traditional, he was a civil engineer. My mother's a doctor. They're very classic Asian, Desi, Indian couple. But he was very political from the moment he moved to the UK. He loved British politics. Till he passed away, he was asking me questions about Trump. What's he doing? Is he going to survive? Like in 2024, all he asked me was like, why are they running Biden? Why are they running Biden?
At what age?
This was at 80, he passed away last year at 87. So this would have been at 86.
Good for him.
So he was super.
Was he sharp to the very end?
No, unfortunately. He wasn't sharp at the end. But even when he wasn't sharp at the end, he was still very political. Just wanted to talk about politics whenever I called.
Never had a desire to run and do anything? Just opinion?
No, just loved it. There's a certain generation of Indian immigrant men who have a lot of opinions.
Well, the opinion part, I agree.
Yeah, but he also read broadly, read widely. He could quote Shakespeare.
Who influenced him? What influened his politics?
His uncle growing up. My dad grew up as an orphan. His father died when he was 2. He was raised by his uncle mainly, who was a kind of polymath. And I think he absorbed a lot of that. So my father was someone who could quote Shakespeare, but he could also quote Allama Iqbal, the famous Urdu poet. Like he could switch between different cultures, different intellectual references. So it put a lot of pressure on me and my sister.
But was he a devout liberal himself? Like, would you consider him would he today be a progressive himself or no?
I think he very much would see himself as a liberal.
Okay.
My parents are very different. I think my mother is more conservative, more practicing. My father was more intellectually engaged with the
Like
religion.
a literal conservative? Like conservative?
What's your definition?
Like she's pro-Trump?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
she's
what is
sensible. She's a sensible.
She's sensible.
I meant conservative, like socially conservative, Islam, making sure that when we were kids, she was the one who made sure we prayed and we fasted, we read Quran and all of that stuff. My father was the person who made sure that we were asking questions about the
Culture.
world. And yes, the culture very much, the language, the culture, all of that stuff.
Got
yeah.
it. So did they know you're going to get into journalism?
No.
How did that happen? Like, when was it, Dad, this is what I'm going to
So
be
I
doing?
went to university in the late 90s. I went to Oxford. I did politics, philosophy, economics, which is this degree
Like
that
math as well, economics. Yeah, I saw economics.
PPE.
Right.
It's a famous degree in the UK that politicians love to do. Prime ministers love to. David Cameron did PPE. Like it's called the degree of prime ministers. Like it's famous. I did that degree and I didn't like the economics. I struggled with the philosophy, even though I enjoyed it, and I loved the politics. I didn't know what to do. Most of my friends left university and went into finance, investment banking, management consultancy. I knew I didn't want to do that. So that left me with a kind of, well, what do I do now? And I kind of fell into journalism. People ask me at events now, young people, like, what's your story? How do I become a journalist? I wish I had like a Marvel origin story. I don't. It's not like I dreamt of being a journalist. It's just, I didn't know what else to do. I have a big mouth. I'll try this.
You would have been great in sales. You would have been great in finance. You would have done
Not
very well.
finance. I can't deal with numbers.
Well, you're saying you did, PPE, you're saying the guys that
That's why
went
the
into
economics
politics.
bit I enjoy. I did enjoy the math part of economics.
But at that time, you have no aspirations for politics.
No, it came later. There was a period where I was very aspirational. I thought about
To
running.
run?
Yeah, to run as a member of parliament, be a politician. And then I realized it's not for me. When you cover it as a journalist, you're like, this
What do you
world?
mean it's not for you?
To run for office?
You? Do you ever watch Mamdani? You're like, dude, I could do that better. Mamdani's, I know I could do what
No,
Mamdani's.
because I'll tell you why. Mamdani has a electric smile. I know Zoran well. I've met him a few times. He actually spoke at our anniversary party recently, and I had to speak after him. And I'm kind of arrogant. I think of myself as a good speaker. I got nervous that day. I have to speak after Zoran Mamdani.
Wow.
What the hell? What am I doing here
Did
speaking
you
after
feel the
Mamdani?
energy that he had?
He was Muhammad Ali. I'm looking straight there at Ali right
Yep,
there.
yep.
He is the Muhammad Ali of politics right now. Just the energy in the room, people going crazy. His every move, hanging off his every word. He's got that. If he was American born, he would be one of the top runners and riders for 2028 easily.
Super capable.
But here's the difference between me and Zoran Mamdani. There are many differences. The big one is he has this charming electric smile. He is he's the guy who kisses babies at events. He wins people over. I have what's called RAMF. I have resting angry Muslim face. So when I'm talking to people, when I'm listening, I look mad, right? People have told me this over the years. Producers have told me in my ear, you look angry, smile. Not in a misogynistic way, like say to women, you should smile. But people tell me, smile.
Yeah.
So for me, running for office, I look angry all the time.
Yeah.
You can't win like that. You need the smiling.
I'll
You're
have
brown, you need to be smiling.
Kelly or Mickey or people, family that are taking pictures. Patrick, can you smile, please? I'm smiling. You're not smiling. So maybe it's a Middle Eastern thing. I don't know.
But I think for brown and black people, sorry to come back to racism again, I do think there's that extra pressure to show you're not an angry black man, angry brown man. Yeah. Obama was always seen as beloved because he was like, oh, you can imagine your daughter marrying him when he comes in the room. There was always that kind of sensibility around Barack Obama.
So you think that's the part with Mamdani? He's got a little bit of that Obama-esque thing going for himself.
For sure. I mean, he won over your guy.
Yeah. You talking about Cuomo or you talking about Sliwa?
I'm talking about Donald Trump.
Oh,
he won him over. He went to the White. You saw him in the White.
Tell me you don't love the fact that you're saying my guy. That my guy said, just tell him how you feel. Tell me you don't respect that.
That was an amazing move.
Tell me you don't respect that.
I respect Mamdani for pulling it off.
But do you respect that Trump's like, just tell him you don't like me?
I don't respect it. I don't understand it.
You can't say that.
I swear to God, I don't.
Dude, you know you respect the fact that
I've studied Donald Trump, unfortunately, through no choice of my own. For 12 years. I moved here months before he came down that golden escalator.
You respected that.
I do not respect Donald Trump. But I watched that clip, and I'm someone who, you could ask me about Trump, I could talk about Trump all day long. Yeah. I know everything about Trump. That moment still is, he looks at Mamdani the way I've never seen him look at anyone. I've never seen him look at Melania the way he looks at Zoran Mamdani. Right? In love. Just in awe. He goes on Sid Rosenberg's radio show. Yeah. You see that? Yeah. Sid Rosenberg, he's a jihadist. Mr. President, he hates you. Nah, he's a good guy. He's at the State of the Union.
Doesn't get you to say you
I don't understand
Trump.
why, but can you tell me why?
Yeah, I think he respects talent. Honestly,
like game recognizes game.
No, look, you're here. I like your talent, and I watch and I see what you do. Yeah. Listen, we may not agree on 50%
like
of
that with most other people.
But no, he is. He respects talent, and he's got it.
Fawning over people, Trump doesn't fawn over
people.
To
bring the guy over. He's done it with a few different people.
Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Zoran Mamdani. Those are my
What does that say about your Mamdani, though? You got to be careful with that.
That's why I don't
understand. You just put him in a bad place.
That's why I don't understand.
Be careful what you're doing.
That's why I don't understand.
Mehdi Hasan compares Mamdani to Putin and Kim Jong-un. Don't do that. Why
out of context. This is why no one likes right-wing media. Out of context.
Just say you like the fact that they got along.
I do like the fact they got along.
I do as well.
Because Zoran Mamdani went, in his second time he went to New York. He's so smart. He knows how, Trump is very easily won over. Mm-hmm. He takes a front page of a newspaper, right? He takes a fake newspaper front page. Yep. Why has people not thought of this before? With Trump saving New York, gives it to Trump. And then he goes, can you free this Palestinian student who ICE just picked up? By that afternoon, Trump has freed that student. Right? That is a mayor who knows how to get results and win over Trump without giving up his own self-respect, without fawning over him like I think Wes Moore was in one clip where they used it against him, where he was very, very friendly.
Will you give any credit for the fact that by the afternoon, the most powerful man in the world gave him what he asked for?
No.
You won't.
I'll tell you why. Can I tell you why?
When is your birthday? Let me. Where's the July 10th, 79? You are this stubborn.
Why? You've done your homework. I'll tell you why I don't respect it. Because I'm glad Zoran Mamdani did it, but what does it say about our leader, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, the self-proclaimed leader of the free world, that it's so easy to play this guy? World leaders have been doing it for years. This is the problem with him. It's so easy to manipulate him. He's so easy to be won over. And I'm glad when my guy's doing it for a good cause, but people do it for bad causes too. I'm sure we're going to talk about Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu did it to get him into a war of Iran. That's my problem. When Trump first went to Saudi Arabia after he got elected in 2017, there was a story about how when he drove from the airport to the embassy or hotel, wherever he was staying, the Saudis, this is in 2017, remember his first trip as president was to Saudi Arabia. The Saudis put up on billboards his tweets. Can you imagine that? How smart that is? That Trump is driving along and he's seeing his own quotes. These people know how to play him. They know how to suck up to him. Kim Jong-un.
His good quotes or his bad quotes?
No, good. They're praising him, right?
All right.
Every foreign leader knows how you can suck up to Donald Trump. You praise him, and now in a second term, you give him money. You can now bribe the President of the United States.
So do you think there's an element, you've never been in sales before, but you're a businessman now, right?
Yeah, I'm selling. I have to
You're now sales.
Do that stuff, yeah.
And that's
subscribe to Zeteo.
Join to Capitalist.
Subscribe to Zeteo.
So happy.
All the cameras. ZETEO.com.
By the way, respectfully, you leave mainstream. You're at MSNBC. I think you're the number one guy for them with the eyeballs you guys are getting. I don't know
young
what it was.
people online for sure.
Yeah, for young people online, you're number one. So, and then I don't know what the story is, what happened there. We've read a lot of different stories. They were giving you another job. You chose to leave. You do independent, and then independently, You have what, $3.5 million in reoccurring revenue 12 months later.
Yeah.
12 months later. That's amazing to be able to do that. And then today being a business guy, so it's great to have
And I've never run anything in my life, so I was very worried.
So maybe that PPE degree you got in economics, that capitalist was inside of you, and we brought it out. So that's great.
Okay.
Welcome to the Club of Capitalists. It's great to have you with us.
I'm a socialist/capitalist. There you go.
A multi-millionaire socialist, which is great.
Nothing wrong with that? Bernie's a millionaire.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But let's go to the part about you brought up Trump and Bibi. So Axios brings out the story. At this point, you've seen it. So, Rob, if you want to go down so I can read the whole thing, you're effing crazy. Trump fumes at Netanyahu in call on Lebanon. Go a little bit lower, Rob, so I can read the whole thing. So President Trump lashed out at Israel over Israel escalation in Lebanon and an expletive Latin call on Monday. 2 U.S. officials and a third source briefed on the call told Axios why it matters. Early on Monday, Iran threatened to abandon negotiations with the U.S. over Israel, saying actions in Lebanon. On the call, Trump called Netanyahu crazy and accused him of ingratitude, according to 2 of the sources. He also put the brakes on Israel's plan to strike Beirut. Behind the scenes, 1 U.S. official told Bibi that following through on his threat to bomb Lebanese capital would further isolate Israel from around the world. 2 of the sources said Trump claimed he'd help keep Netanyahu out of jail. He said, if it wasn't for me, you'd be in jail right there. You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you. Everybody hates Israel because of this. Do you think this call happened?
The call definitely happened, but both sides are spinning it in their own ways, and they're spinning it with the classic people. So just background on this. This is an Axios piece. The author of this piece is Barak Ravid, who is an award-winning journalist, won a coverage, co-authored by Mark Caputo, former colleague of mine at NBC News. But Barak Ravid is famous, or should I say now infamous in media circles, for being the guy who the White House always goes to leak stuff about conversations with Israel.
Is this the guy that leaked it, that Bibi got up, that Biden got upset at?
Yes, same.
This is the same
So
guy.
he did both.
Okay,
He's bipartisan.
I got
Whether
it.
you're Joe
So he's
Biden.
a fair guy.
Well, it's not about being fair. It's the point is that whoever's in the White House, they know that this is the guy who does the stories about split between Israel and America. So we've had about 2 dozen of these stories over the last 3 years.
Is this a guy you trust?
Unfortunately, no now. It's not that I don't trust him. I'm not saying he's making stuff up. But I'm saying he's clearly become a useful vessel for information from the White House that they want to get out. They know, if you're Joe Biden or you're Donald Trump, you know that if you want to get out that you're pissed at Netanyahu, Barak Ravid is the guy you go to. Now, on the other side, you have Amit Segal, who is one of Israel's most famous journalists, very close to Benjamin Netanyahu. Channel 12, I think, is his network. This guy is now reporting today, the day we're talking, that actually the Israeli side is saying, no, Trump never swore at Netanyahu, never mentioned jail or prison, and they disagreed about how to handle Hezbollah in Lebanon. So the question then becomes, for those of us who were not in the room, who do you believe? Serial liar Donald Trump or serial liar Benjamin Netanyahu? Journalists who act as vessels for leaders on both sides? It's very hard. This is why people have a real issue with mainstream media right now. Because what do you do in a situation like this where both sides are spinning furiously? And I can believe either version. I can believe that Trump told him you're fucking crazy. We wouldn't put that past Donald Trump. I can also believe that they lied to make Trump sound stronger than he is, and that Netanyahu's telling the truth. I don't know.
Okay, so how do they typically get the credibility? Because anybody can say this was said. So can you go back to the article when it says 2 sources were there? What is the, you're in this world.
Yes.
Is there a system or a standard to be able to, because this is a big deal here.
Yeah, it's a big deal too. I mean, look, all the traditional rules of political journalism went out the window when Donald Trump came along, right? So, my colleague Swin Subsang reports on the White House for Zateo. He has very good contacts. And, he tells me some of the crazy stories he gets from behind the scenes in terms of people trying to screw each other over, right? In the Trump administration, there's a very unique dynamic. And, he's referred to it as a Reservoir Dogs dynamic. It's been referred to where everyone's got a gun to each other's head at the same time, right? So they're all trying to screw each other over. So that's another issue is, are 2 of the sources people who are allied with each other? Are they from different wings of the White House? Pat, with this Iran war, there are different elements in this administration. Some people want the war done, finished. Some people want it to keep going. So there's different pressures on
This
Trump.
is not 100%, 80% story. This is
so there's different people leaking for different agendas to try and end a war or escalate a war.
Give me how this makes Trump look good. How does it make it look bad? Who's winning with the story? Who's not?
So
optics, purely
Trump,
optics.
you know the MAGA base better than me. Many of them are your viewers. Many people in the MAGA base, not as many as people suggest. My good friend Cenk Uygur, I know you had on the show, he thinks there's a big split in MAGA. I'm less of that view. I look at the polls, 80% of MAGA still loves Trump, 70% love this war. But there is a growing minority who don't like what's going on with the foreign wars, with the betrayal of anti-war promises. And a lot of them see Donald Trump as being, I can't come up with a better phrase than Netanyahu's bitch. And this would help Donald Trump say, look, I'm telling Benjamin Netanyahu, fuck you, you're fucking crazy, I saved you from prison. I'm the dominant partner in this relationship. And by the way, this is not just a Trump issue. Every American president who's dealt with Netanyahu has come out getting screwed over. Joe Biden got completely screwed over. He gave his entire presidency to save Netanyahu. Look at him today, destroyed. Bill Clinton in the 90s came out of a conversation with Netanyahu. You know what he said to his team? He said, who's the fucking superpower here? He was so pissed that he got talked down to by Benjamin Netanyahu. So American presidents have been dealing with Bibi for many years, and they've always tried to assert their dominance, and many of them have failed to do so. So I think for Donald Trump, it's good if people believe it. The problem is, those of us who know the Axios reporting on this, we're very, very skeptical.
So let me ask you
film
this.
before.
If you're Trump's advisor, which you're not, but let's just say if you were Trump's advisor, and Trump hears you, and he says, screw this guy. That call did happen. That's exactly what I told him. What does he need to do publicly for even a guy like you to say, shit, this happened?
That's a great question, because Donald Trump's word means nothing to me. I've been documenting his lies for many years. No one's told more lies than Donald Trump in the public sphere. So actions matter more than words. Same issue with Biden. His people would leak, Biden's very upset with Netanyahu. Okay, but what the fuck are you doing about it? Right? Many of us frustrated with the genocide would say. Same question now. What are you going to do about it? Donald Trump has given Netanyahu everything he wanted. Right? Even if this conversation is true, he's saying, I saved you from prison, in the sense that he demanded the Israeli president.
Did he? Don't you think he did, though?
In many ways he did, because every time this war continues, Netanyahu avoids trial, right? Every time there's an escalation in the war, he doesn't have to go back to court.
That's right.
And Trump has publicly called on Herzog, the president, to pardon him, which he hasn't done yet, but I'm sure he's feeling the pressure from Trump publicly calling him out. So he has helped Netanyahu, but worse than that, you look at what's happening in Gaza, he's given Netanyahu everything he wanted. And this really bothers me, because in 2024, I spend a lot of time pointing out to people on my side, leftists, Muslims, Arab Americans, people in Dearborn, Michigan, who welcome Trump. And I said to them, you're going to get screwed over by this guy. No. He's more anti-war than Kamala and Joe. This is what I was told by Arab Americans who voted for Trump. He will be the anti-war president. Stephen Miller said he won't send our boys to die. Trump said, remember what he said? He goes, Liz Cheney will go to war with Kamala and kill Muslims. I won't. They all believed that shit. Then he bombed, 6 countries last year, 7 countries last year. Now he's in a war with Iran. In Gaza, he had this ceasefire at the beginning that people were very happy about. But since then, he's allowed Netanyahu to do whatever he wants. And earlier this week, Netanyahu went on camera and he said, we now control 60% of Gaza, and I'm going to take 70% of Gaza. Even Biden, Harris, Blinken, none of them said that would be possible. Trump has basically given Netanyahu carte blanche to do whatever he wants in the Gaza Strip. So when your answer to your question is, what does he have to do to prove he's holding?
A guy like you.
He has to hold.
It's impossible to win a guy like you.
I will give credit. I'll say it now. On
If
camera.
what?
If he manages to get Netanyahu out of Lebanon and out of Gaza, which he won't. But that's what I would want to see, because that's what's happened on his watch. On his watch, Netanyahu's taken more territory in both those places.
Right.
Prove to me that you actually care about Middle East peace. Prove to me that you have control over Netanyahu and American weapons, and get him to pull out. Because right now, Greater Israel is happening in front of our eyes. Netanyahu's doing the project that far-right Israelis have always wanted. He's taking Lebanon, southern Lebanon.
You're saying Egypt,
He's taking
Turkey,
Gaza.
all this stuff.
Who knows what's coming
That's
next?
what you're thinking?
Well, if you embolden the guy, what is the lesson of the last 3 years? There's impunity. You can do whatever the F you want, and America will never stop you.
Okay, do me a favor. Differentiate between what Bibi's vision is and what Israel's vision is.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so for instance, you could have there's a difference between what America's vision is.
Yes.
Be the greatest country in the world versus what AOC's vision would be if she became president versus Trump, right? So what do you think is Bibi's vision versus Israel's vision?
That's a great question. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings. We do this thing in the U.S., especially on the liberal side, where we say, look, we're against the Netanyahu government. We're not against Israel or the Israeli people. The problem is the Israeli people have made it very clear over the last 3 years that they're totally behind all these wars. There's been no real anti-war movement. In Israel, there's no real...
There's a little bit. It's not a big number.
It's tiny. It's tiny. You look at the polling, 80% of Israelis support
20% is what I was going to say.
Every military operation blindly. You look at the polling, some of it's horrific. Like 80% of Israelis support removing Palestinians from Israel. From Gaza, and another small majority support ethnically cleansing them from Israel itself, Palestinian citizens of Israel. Israeli society...
What percentage was this one?
So I think it's 80% say they're fine with getting them out of Gaza, like forcibly.
Right.
And there's another majority or big plurality of Israelis Israeli Jews who say even Palestinians in Israel should ultimately emigrate.
The West Bank and some of that.
No, Israel proper, within the Green Line.
Got it. Okay.
1/5 of the population of Israel is Palestinian citizens of Israel. So the polling is horrific. There was a poll done last year by Penn State, I think it was, where almost half of Israelis said that when we capture a town in Gaza, we should treat it like the Bible and Jericho. We should kill all the inhabitants, all the men. Like this kind of crazy. So, okay, all these polls, you take them with a pinch of salt. I get it. But anyone you speak to in Israel who's a serious commentator on Israeli politics will tell you that over the last 5-10 years, Israeli society has moved to the right, to the far right, in a way that American society has not. Donald Trump is polling in the 30s right now. Even at his peak, he got 49.8% of the vote in the last election. He's never had a majority. In Israel, the right-wing parties, the far-right parties are dominant right now. Maybe in the 90s, early 90s, there was a peace camp. There was Oslo, all this stuff. That's gone now. You could argue about why it's gone.
So how is that? How is that possible? How is it that in Israel, the guy is being that aggressive and his support is getting higher?
I don't think his personal support is going. We'll see what happens in these elections. Because you
just said 80%. I mean,
the war, right? This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm saying
Sure.
don't focus on Netanyahu. It's a very good cop-out. Even Bernie Sanders, who I'm a big fan of, he often says, Netanyahu, Netanyahu, Netanyahu. A lot of Palestinians say, Bernie, it's not Netanyahu, it's Israel. It's the Israeli political establishment. So if you swap out, I'll give you one example. If you swap out Netanyahu tomorrow with Naftali Bennett, who's an opposition leader, former prime minister, I interviewed him once. Naftali Bennett is also on the right, also likes war, has threatened Turkey, has threatened Lebanon. You've got another opposition leader, Avigdor Lieberman, former defense minister. You know what he said this week? He said, flatten the suburbs of Beirut. We should be going in and don't listen to Trump. So the opposition in Israel are equally hawkish, right-wing. So this idea that it's all about Netanyahu, it's a myth, I'm sorry to say.
Okay, so you're saying the two are the same, is what you're saying.
On issues of war and peace, yes. I'm sure in some domestic politics, tax rates, I'm sure there's
smaller stuff is going to be
in domestically within Israel, I'm sure they are.
To the war,
when it comes down to the region,
vision,
Israel's role in the region.
Tell me what the vision is. If you think, what do you think their vision is? What do you think Israel's vision is?
There's a best case scenario and there's a worst case scenario.
Okay.
The best case scenario is that they have this idea of we must be in a state of permanent war footing. Right? I think there's a phrase for it, I forget the name, combat between the conflicts. There's some military doctrine that says even when we're not at war, we carry on doing preemptive strikes, we carry on doing cyber warfare, we carry on doing assassinations, so that Israel remains the regional hegemon. We keep our superiority, our military edge. We let everyone know in the region who's boss, even when we're not in a formal state of war. That's the best case scenario, that this is just a security doctrine that says we will bomb and invade whoever we like just to remain top dog in the region. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is it's ideological, that these are fanatical, messianic people who believe that all of the territory is theirs, given to them by the Bible. I interviewed Naftali Bennett in 2017, nearly a decade ago, for Al Jazeera. He was an education minister at the time. I never forget this interview. I said to him, we were talking about peace treaties and two-state solution, and he said, the Bible says it's ours. I'd never heard someone say it that bluntly to my face. I can't imagine Ilhan Omar going on TV and saying, the Quran says this, right? This guy's openly saying, the Bible says the land is ours. Where do you go with that? There's no debate after that, right? That's just a kind of religious, ethnic nationalist, messianic vision. So Benjamin Netanyahu, even though he's not a religious man, has signed off on a greater Israel. He was asked about whether he believes in it. He said, absolutely. The opposition leader, Yair Lapid, who's a kind of centrist, supposedly a liberal, he was asked after the Mike Huckabee, Tucker Carlson interview. He said, do you agree with Mike Huckabee that all of the territories from the Bible, it's all yours? He said, yeah, our borders are biblical. This is what the opposition leader said. Forget the right-wingers Smotrich and Ben-Gvir.
What do you think is the likelihood their vision becomes a reality?
Right now, more likely than not, because the United States of America has allowed Israel to get away with a genocide.
How long? I mean, long term,
long term, no. Long term, it's perpetual war for perpetual peace.
And by the way, deep down inside, do you really think Trump wants this war to continue?
No. Trump doesn't like long wars.
No.
He likes short wars. That's why he's been humiliated by Iran, because he thought this would be over in a few days.
By the way, nobody thought Iran was going to be able to, not nobody. A lot of people on his camp, when they sat there and talked about it, it is a very fair argument to say that. No, let me make my point on what I'm saying. It is a very fair argument to say that unlike Venezuela, which we went in, we got Maduro, and we're out, most likely Cuba is going to be the same way as Venezuela, probably even easier when they go through and get it.
Sure.
Iran showed up strength to the world. Yeah. And you got to give them credit, no matter what anybody says, conservative or on the left.
You can give them credit militarily, obviously not politically, but Trump, I don't think we can defend him with nobody knew this, but he did this line recently. Nobody knew they were going to hit the Gulf states. We all knew they were going to hit the Gulf states. They've been saying this for years.
Iran was going to hit the Gulf states.
Iran was going to hit the Gulf states.
Do you think
that's been their doctrine for years.
Do you think that unified the Gulf states even more?
No. I think we've wrecked our long-term relationship with the Gulf states.
Tell me why.
I think in private, all of these Gulf states will, in public, they'll say what they've got to say, but in private, they know the U.S. security umbrella does not extend to them anymore. They know that even if they give Donald Trump a $400 million plane, even if they put $500 million in his crypto business, Israel will always take precedence over them.
Do you think the Gulf states prefer Iran to be led by IRGC, or the story we saw recently with Pezeshkian, who's a moderate, stepping down because he's like everything's being run by. Who do you think the Gulf states would rather have?
I think the Gulf states are not a monolith, first of all, Patrick, because the UAE is very different to Qatar and Kuwait, right?
But they're neighbors.
They're neighbors, but they have different foreign policy.
I understand.
The UAE is an outlier. The UAE is very hawkish, very pro-Israel, very pro-America, very anti-Iran, which is kind of crazy because, the US and Israel move on with their lives. The UAE is exposed to Iran for the rest of their lives.
Isn't UAE succeeding the most out of most of the Gulf states?
Are they?
Financially?
Are they? Many businesses have cleared out. Tourism has fallen. It's a huge industry based on tourism.
For the time.
You think people are going to go back? I think my thing is...
I think so.
I think that their image has been permanently destroyed. I don't think you could put it back in the bottle. They had this image, especially to kind of white Westerners, as this business, tourist, even residential utopia. You go there, there's no crime, you chill out, everything's cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's gone now. Once Iran has done this, I think they've destroyed that image. Now, if you're Amazon or you're whatever it is, Chase Bank, you're going to go back into Dubai, Abu Dhabi, knowing that Iran can then do this again at any time they want. As long as Iran is still run by the same government, I don't think these Gulf states get that image back. And I think the Qataris understand that. Even the Saudis understand that. They want a region, I think privately, and I may be wrong, and the few people in the Gulf I speak to say this to me, they recognize that Israel is the real problem in the region. They may not say so publicly. Some of them have signed up to the Abraham Accords like Bahrain, etc., UAE. But I think they understand that Israel is the destabilizing force in the region. It's Israel that bombed 6 countries in the Middle East last year. It wasn't Iran that did that. It's Israel that went to war now and brought the United States into this conflict and led to Iran bombing Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And I think that is the situation we're in. I think you're going to see these Gulf states, if they're smart, making overtures to the Chinese and to the Russians in future years. They have to kind of diversify who they rely on.
Maybe it's me being a Syrian, maybe it's me being Armenian, maybe the fact that I lived in Iran could be the reason for this. But nobody, sells Israel as this incredibly powerful organization and brains than those who hate Israel. All they talk about is how powerful Israel is. I don't think there's anybody that's the Don King promoting how smart, intellectual, brilliant Israel is than those who cannot stand Israel.
Well, I'm not one of those.
But if
let me just go through the list. I'm not somebody who said Iran would roll over. I said Iran would make Iraq look like a walk in the park.
I'm talking about
right. I warned that Iran and America would not be able to destroy Iran in the way they thought they could destroy Iran. It was insane. It was hubris to think they could do that. I've been saying that for 15 years. I've been saying it since Iraq, 2003, when I was a 23-year-old marching against that war. When Bush was thinking about Iran, I was saying.
Are you afraid of Israel?
Am I afraid of?
Are you afraid of Israel?
What do you mean?
Are you afraid of Israel's aspirations?
Oh, yeah. But aspirations are different, right? Can they pull it off? I agreed with you that just because they have this messianic vision doesn't mean they're going to win.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with that.
To me, it's like, okay.
No, they didn't win in Gaza.
Bro,
Patrick, I said in 2023, that this whole plan, when people were like yourself and others were saying Israel has a right to self-defense, destroy Hamas, I said, you can't. There is no military solution to your problem.
Yeah, so you know what it is for me? Don't talk to Mehdi, because Mehdi's going to do this. No, I want to talk to Mehdi. No, I'm telling you, be careful. No, I want to talk to Mehdi. Oh, don't talk to Bibi because I want to talk to him. I wish you had an hour and a half to talk. No, don't talk to Nick. No, don't talk to this guy. I want to talk to him. I don't sit there and see that, my God, everything, they're so powerful. They're going to control America. They do this, they do that. I mean, you kind of giving them too much credit.
I mean, you're mixing different things together, though. One thing is militarily, can they win on battlefields? No, not always. Hezbollah defeated them in 2000, famously. That was the first time they were defeated by an Arab force on a battlefield when they withdrew from southern Lebanon. They're back now. We were told Hezbollah was done. Do you remember a couple of years ago? Oh, the pages and the assassination of Nasrallah. They're done. It was a paper tiger. They just killed 30 Israeli soldiers in the last few weeks, right? They've injured hundreds more. Who knows what the real numbers are? So clearly they're not done for. Hamas is still around. And the Iranians still have, 70% of their missile stock, according to U.S. intelligence. So the idea that these were all paper tigers was bullshit. That's a different argument. I'm not a military expert. I'm not going to sit here and adjudicate, who has the strength in the field. Politically, though, in this country, does Israel still have power? Sure. They still have politicians who support them. They still have lobby groups that advocate on their behalf.
So does China. So does Qatar.
No, not on the level of Israel. Come on.
Oh, okay, let me ask you a question.
Go on.
If you had $5 billion to win over influence in people in America politically and inject your way of thinking, would you put that money to buy over congressmen and senators, or would you put that money into winning over kids? Where would you put your money?
Both.
No.
Either or.
Okay, then do diversify. Seriously, use it as a mutual fund. You got $5 billion. How much you put in one? How much you put in the other one? Honestly.
I don't know. I haven't
I
thought
want
about
you,
it.
but I want you to think
Yeah,
about it.
50-50. I think they're both important.
You think
you
it's
talk about when you say
50-50?
young people, you mean like TikTok? You mean like
Universities.
controlling
I'm
social
talking about
media?
universities,
Oh,
TikTok,
universities.
social. Give money to universities, give money to places to get the kids influence. Where would you put the money in?
But let me take your example, take it a step further. Okay, let's say I put it all in students. I win over young people. That's already happened. Have you seen the polling? The young people hate Israel.
I know.
But does it translate into policy? No, because the Congress still controls the purse strings. So I'll give you one example. 8% of Democrats support Israel's war in Gaza. 8%, according to a poll last year. In Congress, it's the other way around. It's like 80% of Democrats support Israel, only 8 or 10% are voting against weapons or genocide. I'm ballpark figures here. So what's the disconnect? The disconnect is we have a Congress that doesn't represent the public on either side of the divide. I don't think the Republican Party fully represents its base, but more so, Democratic Party certainly doesn't represent its base on Israel, the leadership. You look at these primaries, we're sitting on a day where there's going to be a bunch of primaries. So my big point here is, yes, it's great that young people have been won over. It's great that everyone under the age of 50 in the United States of America, whether Republican or Democrat, does not want more weapons going to Israel. That's the latest polling. Under the age of 50, everyone.
That makes sense to me.
Right? But Congress does. So the disconnect, this is why we have such a crisis of democracy. This is why Israel matters so much in our political system. It's not just a foreign policy issue. It's an issue of our democracy where we have members of Congress and a president who does not follow American will, does not follow the will of the voters. And so to answer your question, yeah, you do need to spend money lobbying Congress because ultimately they're the ones voting on weapons. They're the ones voting on aid. They're the ones voting to censor our speech, saying anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. All of that stuff is coming out of Congress. And people say, oh, Qatar and this. I just gave you an example. The Qataris gave him a $400 million plane. The Emiratis gave him $500 million for his crypto fund. The Saudis have sponsored multiple multi-million-dollar golf tournaments at his properties, hotels. Did it come in useful? When it came down to it, he picked Israel. He picked Miriam Adelson. He picked Benjamin Netanyahu. He picked AIPAC. He picked Marco Rubio.
I don't know about that.
He picked all these people. What do you mean? We've seen it with our eyes.
I don't know about that. Listen, let me ask you this. Do you think, and by the way, you didn't answer my question. So I want to stay on the money part, and then I'm going to go to the next question.
I did answer. I said, I could spend it all on the kids. It doesn't matter.
No, but so
because ultimately, Congress is still more important.
So you would put all the money in Congress and
No,
Senate?
both. I said split.
You would do 50-50?
50-50. Win over the people, and then win over the people who represent the people.
So where does Qatar put their money? They put $6.5 billion in universities. Where does China put their money? $5.5 billion in universities. What type of influence do you think they got long term? You think long term? Like you think China thinks short term? You think Qatar thinks short term? You think they're trying to buy influence long term when they get in front of the kids?
You think? Do you have evidence? It's a serious question.
The dollar?
No, I mean, no. I'm talking about. Do you have evidence that? Well, first of all, what Chinese investment has gone into university?
Do you want to pull it up, Rob? I mean, this. You know.
I know the
numbers.
Qataris are sponsored. I've been to Georgetown, Qatar. They spend a lot of money on U.S. universities. But it's great. I'm asking about what's China's sponsored university?
Oh, China's given donations to.
The Chinese government sponsors American universities. I did not know this.
Let me pull up.
I'm happy
these
to show
numbers.
my ignorance.
By the way, I don't know where the money is coming from, but I'll show you here. China has invested an estimated 5.6. I was short by $1 billion.
Okay.
6.4 billion in American universities over the recent decade, making it one of the largest foreign. So why are they doing it?
No. Hold on. You didn't read the third sentence.
Which is what
These funds research. You think research partnerships with the Chinese is making kids on campus pro-China?
No, no. It's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Mehdi, you're very smart. So you went to Oxford. You got the PPE degree. Because it's like, not the PPP loan, you got the legit PPE degree, right? Do you not think if these schools are getting this types of money, which phone call you think they're picking up?
Oh,
you think
we know, Patrick, because we just saw what happened the last 3 years. Did Colombia go pro-Israel or pro-Qatar?
But what did Colombia do?
They went pro-Israel. They silenced all the pro-Palestinian.
But what did they do? But what did they do?
They rolled over for Donald Trump and they rolled over for the Israel lobby.
What was the event that happened that got them to get there?
I don't know which event.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going.
You follow the stories. You tell me, who was it? It was 3 universities, right? Columbia was one of them.
And
was the other
there was a
two?
bunch of universities that cracked down
But why
on
did they do
pro-Palestine
that?
centers.
Why did they do that?
Multiple reasons. Pressure from politicians
Okay.
who are pro-Israel.
You think maybe
pressure
they
from
screwed up
donors
as
who
well?
are pro-Israel. Pressure from activist groups. This whole ridiculous debate where we conflate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. I remember when I launched...
I'm not with that. Just so you know, like in Florida when they're saying you can't debate and criticize Israel, I'm not part of that camp.
Not just that. DeSantis is one of the many governors and Republicans
I'm not part of that
who have
camp.
said that if you're an American business that engages in BDS, you can't get contracts with the state. That's insane. That American business can't do what it wants to do.
But by the way, what I'm trying to tell you is I think the reasonable people are not with that. Short term, some of these things may come and go. Long-term, they're not. I had Randy, what's his last name? Randy Fine.
Ugh.
I had him on, and I asked him the question
He's a racist.
about where he's at. I think you may have even tweeted something about it when we talked about it. I asked him a couple questions, pointed whether he was pro-America, America first, or Israel first. If you're in America, hey, I have a problem with you not being America first, but I want to go back to this. If they give $6 billion, you think they're dumb that they're just giving $6 billion to universities? You don't think they want things in return?
No, I
you
think
don't
everyone.
Think
I think you made that point earlier. There are many lobbies trying to get their way. I'm not disputing that there are many lobbies. In fact, I'm the one who says, let's not treat the Israel lobby as a unique lobby. People are like, oh my God, AIPAC. I always say AIPAC, NRA,
Great. All of them.
Big Pharma, all of these people.
All of them.
I want to get money out of politics. I'm on
I
the
do
left.
as well.
I'm a Bernie, Elizabeth Warren.
I want to get money out of politics.
Let's get rid of
and I'm not on
Citizens
the
United.
left.
Yeah, Citizens United,
Yeah.
West Supreme Court decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but let me come back to your direct point about influence. I'm not disputing that they're spending money, they're lobbying, everyone's doing it. I'm saying Israel's winning. And the evidence is what's happened.
See, I'm saying Israel's losing.
I've not only do I have a kid in college, I have multiple Muslim friends, leftist friends with kids in colleges.
Kids are now Jewish.
I have kids who've been arrested.
Yeah.
I have kids who've been doxxed. I know kids who have been suspended. I know kids who have been expelled because of their criticism of Israel. I watched a video of Rumeysa Öztürk, a young Turkish student at Tufts, be picked up by 8 ICE agents and detained because she wrote an op-ed in her student paper saying we should divest from Israel. And Marco Rubio had her detained for a year. Right? So don't tell me that Qatar is winning this argument. Qatar is not winning the argument on campus.
So
that's just a complete. Last 3 years is a complete denial.
I get your argument, but I would dispute it in the following way. Everybody is trying to win influence. Everybody.
Agreed.
And they're spending money. So
Agreed.
no matter what it is,
We agree.
everybody. But the question is, whose money is working and who's not? The part where I go that's not working is, do you think Israel's popularity in America has increased or decreased in the last 5 years?
No, because that's a different argument. That's because people saw a genocide live stream to their phones, right? And you can't buy your way out of
It's
that.
more than that's one of it.
That's one of the big issues.
It's one of the bigger issues, but it's more than that. So whatever they did, like even when Charlie Kirk, the letters came out when he was having a conversation with Bibi, and I don't know if it was the 7 things he wrote, the 6 things. Do you remember that when he wrote a letter? I don't know if you remember that or not.
I wasn't a big Charlie Kirk reader. You'll be shocked to hear.
Yeah, well, you would have liked him. It was a special
No,
guy.
he didn't like me. He wanted me deported.
He
He called for me to be deported from this country because he's such a free speech champion he was.
What was his reason for it?
Because I said something about COVID that he didn't like.
What did you say about
MSNBC.
COVID?
Something about the whole school. My position on lockdowns, vaccines, whatever it was. He didn't like it, but instead of debating me on it, he said, "Who's this guy? He should be deported from the country."
Can you tell me specific what it was, Rob?
Rob
you
can pull it up.
Can you
There's
find
a
out?
lot of.
Now, if you said something crazy shit on Twitter
Hold
and
on,
he
hold on.
responds back
Even
to you,
hold on. Even if I said something crazy,
he
the First
can say
Amendment
crazy too.
First Amendment doesn't cover
but
crazy.
his First Amendment he can also say that.
But
That's
you
part
think
of
you
his
should
First
threaten
Amendment.
people with deportation?
I don't know. You said some crazy shit. What did you say?
No, I didn't say anything crazy. I'm just saying. Even let's say I did say something crazy.
No, but even
if
let's just
I
say
didn't
he
say anything
said-
crazy.
But let's just say he said that. That's his freedom to be crazy.
Of course, it's his freedom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like the guy. You're like, I would have
No,
agreed with
that's
him.
a different
That's how we
story.
got
No,
onto
no,
Kirk.
I
I'm
get
like,
it.
why would I
Yeah,
agree
yeah.
with the guy who hated
No,
Islam?
you don't have to.
He hated Islam, and he wanted me deported.
That's a different story.
That's a different story.
But by the way,
Rob is fast.
Rob is fast.
We need you, Rob.
Charlie-
This is speed.
Charlie was a phenomenal guy. But let me go back to it.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, that's totally fine. So, but where was I going with this? We were talking about influence, and then we went to universities. What topic were we on? Until I brought up Charlie. Rob, do you know where I was
You were
going?
saying talking to Netanyahu and the stuff.
Oh, yeah, when he talked to Netanyahu with the 7 points, and he said to him, he said, you're losing the kids. Whatever you're doing, the propaganda, you're losing the kids. So it's not working. So if you say the influence of AIPAC or whatever they're spending their money to win over Congress and all these other guys, guess what happened? I think they gave money to John Cornyn. AIPAC did. He lost. He's been there for 40 plus years. Paxton won.
Yeah.
So what happened with that guy winning? He was a guy that was not even supposed to win. He had issues. Letters came out with his wife, all this other stuff. It wasn't a pretty thing. So I don't know if their influence. Don't get me wrong. When you talk about Miriam, she's put up some real money there. I mean,
Trump's been very open about it.
she's put up some real money there.
And can I say, I don't think we're disagreeing that much. I think we're not actually disagreeing. I agree with you. I'm the first to say I'm very happy to see young people switching on this. I never thought a day would come in my lifetime where polls showed that the American public supports Palestine more than Israel, which we're now seeing from Pew and Gallup. That's an amazing change in public opinion for people like me. But what I'm trying to say to you is all of that is valueless, worthless. Why the AIPAC calculation might make sense to AIPAC is, well, who cares what public opinion say? If we can, it is short term, but if we can control, but they don't think long term.
No.
Maybe the Chinese do. The Israelis think short term.
No,
the Israelis
I'm not
think
talking Israeli.
Okay.
I'm talking about those who wanted to make sure, like whatever their belief is, whatever your belief is, folks that are not pro-Israel, right?
Yes.
And hey,
Yeah, they've not won hearts and minds. We agree on that.
Oh, no. I think I go to schools and I talk to kids. First thing I ask is, who do you watch? Used to be Charlie Kirk. Who is it now? Really? What's your position with Israel? Oh, boom. I mean, it's like zero to anger towards Israel. So guess what that means? Whatever the propaganda was, correct or not, it worked for those that are anti-Israel.
But guess what's
They've
scary?
made a lot of progress.
But guess what's scary?
What's
when
that?
the pro-Israel side hear you say that, when they see the numbers of people watching Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes, God help us, when they hear that, they don't go, shit, we need to work harder to win hearts and minds. What they say is, we need to crack down on democracy and free speech, because that's the only way we stay in power. That is why Peter Beinart, my good friend who used to be a hardcore Zionist, now a liberal.
That works anymore.
Peter makes the point that you're going to see a lot of Zionist groups in this country allying with the right. Traditionally, American Jewish groups have been
ADL,
pro-Democrat, liberal.
Yeah.
But now they're allying with Trump and MAGA because they see a way of suppressing speech and joining with authoritarian forces because they can't win the argument fair and square.
I think that's a mistake.
It is a mistake.
But
that's what they're doing. Jonathan,
I understand that. But what I'm saying to you is it's very important to win over the kids. Very important to win over kids. And
Agreed.
When I see China, Qatar putting that kind of money in schools, their long-term thinking is let's win these kids over and then let's see what happens. So I don't think Israel is winning when it comes down to winning over.
Did you see the Jerusalem Post conference in New York this week?
No.
They hosted a conference that ties in with the Israel Day crazy parade. They had Ronald Lauder, the Estee Lauder guy, the billionaire, giving a speech. His son-in-law is the Federal Reserve guy, Kevin Warshie. I don't remember his name.
Is he Jewish? He's Jewish?
Ronald Lauder is a very leading figure in the American Jewish community, big supporter of Israel. He gave a speech at Jerusalem Post conference, and in that speech,
there you go.
He said that Mossad and Shin Bet, the Israeli intelligence, domestic and foreign intelligence, should be working hard to get American kids to support Israel, influence operations. Openly called for it in a speech. There's a clip doing that. It's insane, right? So when you're talking about, this is what I'm saying to you. It's not that they don't know what's happening, but their solutions are so batshit crazy.
Go back to that story.
And so authoritarian.
Israel is losing the information war.
So they get it. They agree with you and me.
Yeah.
But their solutions are scary as shit. They're authoritarian.
It's not going to work today, though.
I hope it doesn't work.
You know why it's not going to work? You know why it's not going to work today? Why is it not going to work? Are you with MSNBC today?
No.
Okay, where are you at?
I'm independent.
What can you talk about?
Anything I want.
Anything you want.
Yeah.
As long as you don't say something crazy that you get a strike on YouTube, you're good to go.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Look at TikTok. When Mitt Romney had Antony Blinken on stage, do you remember that famous conversation a couple of years back? And he said, everyone's like, oh, they're going after TikTok because of China, because of China, because of China. And Mitt Romney just sits with Blinken and says, every time I go on TikTok, you see 6 times, 7 times as many pro-Palestinian posts as pro-Israel posts. We got to do something about that. Blinken's nodding. I'm like, Mitt, you're not supposed to say that out loud. You're supposed to say that in a smoke-filled room. He said it on stage, right? He made it clear that the TikTok, taken over TikTok by the Ellisons and co. was always about Israel more than it was about China. And that does worry me because you could say, oh, well, I wonder today if, God forbid, the genocide restarted today at the level it did in October 2023 after the horrific massacre on October 7th, what would we see on our social media screens today? I think you'd see much less than you saw in October, November, December of 2023.
So if you, okay, fair on what could happen there. But to me, I think the independent content creators, Israel wasn't used to these guys 20 years ago. And this is a very different game.
Yeah.
Very different game. So they were not accustomed to these guys coming on and not needing anybody and just sit in front of the computer, play video games and talk. And nowadays you have streamers. Streamers are influencing kids. Gamers are influencing kids. How long this is going to last, I don't know.
But look what the UK government just did. My
With
country.
Cenk and
they just
Hasan?
banned Cenk and Hasan.
Yeah.
So again, that's the short-term crackdown. We can't win
What
the
was
argument.
the reasoning, by the way? What did they say?
Anti-Israel.
But what was a specific
They didn't
thing?
give a specific as far as I'm aware.
Well, I mean, UK, you know your country.
I didn't
How many
see,
times?
I haven't seen the details because
Rob, do you know
I know that they didn't say, look, banned for criticizing Israel, they say. I don't know what the UK government has said. But
they're saying this. You don't know if that's the position.
I don't know. I don't know the
Right.
exact. But my point being, this is exactly what we just talked about, which is, again, we can't debate with Hassan Piker, the streamer, so we just prevent him from coming to speak.
You can do it here, though. This is specifically in UK.
But my point is, but they're doing but they do it in reverse, right? So with the UK, you pressure the UK
I don't know
government.
about Cenk, but you want to pull up some of the stuff Hassan said? You want to give him feedback on what he said? Like,
I give him feedback. I know Hassan very well.
have you heard about some of this stuff?
He knows that he
said
said
the
some
capitalist blood on the,
He
let
said
them.
some outrageous stuff.
He said,
he knows
is he the
that.
guy that's
a lot of stuff is quoted
happen again or something?
No, what he said. Okay, come on, hold on. What he
Can you
said.
just pull up the crazy shit he
No,
said?
hold on. I'm not going to.
I know you're going to defend him, but I want to know what's.
I'm not going to defend him. Actually,
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to defend him from falsehoods. I've spoken to Hassan very bluntly and said, you've
America
given your
deserved
opponent.
9/11.
Yes. What is the context of that?
Tell me.
The context, he was talking about American foreign policy and, the quote-unquote famous line about, chickens coming home to roost. It was a very provocative statement. He's apologized for that, by the way, just to be clear.
Sure.
But even Robert Kagan, you know who Robert Kagan is? The big neocon. Yeah. He came out recently and said, you know what? 9/11 was a result of our bad foreign policy. He just said it in a more diplomatic, Atlantic magazine-friendly way.
So you're supporting him saying that, Hasan Piker saying that.
No, he shouldn't have said it like that, because America deserved 9/11, makes it sound that those people died was worth it. No.
Right.
But did America bring 9/11 on itself? 100%. Our U.S. foreign policy created Osama bin Laden, created Al-Qaeda, created all of these wars in the Middle East, created that jihad in Afghanistan. 110%. That was a blowback from U.S. foreign policy. Every serious scholar who's looked at that admits that now. We're coming up to 25th anniversary of 9/11. Even Robert Kagan is saying.
When do you think, Rob, can you pull up how many arrests happen in UK versus other countries on social media? I don't know if you've seen this. It's worth watching.
I've seen it. It's a little bit out of context.
But you know, when you talk about Piker, Hasan Piker, what he said, to me, you can say anything you want to say. The only thing I have a problem with is when it comes down to a threat to someone's life.
Yes.
Give your opinion. Hey, I disagree with this guy's this guy's a that. But when it gets down to that, and then
he's never threatened anyone's life.
When he said capitalist blood, let them die. Can you pull up that clip?
I don't know that clip. I need to see the full
Hasan
context.
sat right here, I'm 47, you're 46, I think we're a year apart. You're 79, right?
79.
Okay, so we're the same age. So when you sit down with a young guy like that, and we've made some major mistakes in our career.
I just told you. I talk to Hasan all the time. Don't give your opponent sticks with.
Here's the one. Watch this.
The guy is a non-violent guy. He doesn't support war or killing. He just says provocative things.
Do you have it, Rob, with audio or no?
My understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yeah, that's a dumb.
Good-looking guy.
That's a dumb thing to say.
Talented guy. Good speaker. Why would you say something like this?
I'm going to text Hasan after this and say, you screwed me over on the Patrick Bet-David, because I'm not going to defend that. I don't know what the context for that is. But look, even you said, let's park Hasan Piker. Cenk Uygur said a lot of things that are very provocative too. Sure. Not like that, but about Israel.
Yeah.
The point is, to come back to my wider point, which is, there's still a way for them to shut down the conversations, to censor speech critical of Israel,
Cenk
to
is
stop
pretty loud.
influence.
Cenk is everywhere today.
But now he can't speak in the UK, is my point.
Well, that's the argument for UK's dumb policy.
Well, it's not just the UK. You don't think the US? Have you?
Bro. Pull up the numbers.
Way. Come on,
Stop.
let's compare. The US is much worse.
Dude, well, look at this here. The number of arrests for hateful messages. Social.
Marco Rubio locked up students in this country for their speech, for speaking. For a young woman in a hijab from Turkey wrote an article in a student paper. She said we should divest
I don't know
from
the
Israel.
whole story. So
pull it up, whatever you want.
I don't know the whole story.
A judge threw it out. He said it was a chilling free speech in this country. He had her released from prison. Multiple cases. I'm going to give you one.
Was she a U.S. citizen?
No,
was
she was a Turkish student.
She was a Turkish student here.
Legal student, studying at Tufts.
Student here, and criticized American policy.
No, she said, she didn't even criticize the American government. She said, my university, Tufts, hey, Tufts, we should divest from Israel. Marco Rubio locked her up.
This is one right here?
This is one right here.
F1.
The judge threw the case out. He said it was a complete assault on free speech. In fact, a Reagan judge, Patrick, you don't have to trust lefties. Let me quote you a Reagan judge, a guy called William Young, appointed by Ronald Reagan. When he looked at the cases of all these students, he said Donald Trump has launched a, quote, this is his words, full-throated assault on the First Amendment. Right? Marco Rubio is deporting people like Mahmoud Khalil, who you may not be a fan of, not because they did any terrorist activity or called for the killing of anyone, but because under some random 1952 immigration law, the Secretary of State has the power to deport anyone he says is undermining U.S. foreign policy through their speech.
Can he?
Well, it's never been tested at the Supreme Court. There's one judge who adjudicated on this law. You know what her name was? Guess what her name was? Judge Marion Barry Trump. Trump's sister is the only judge to ever look at the 1952 law on its merits, and she said it was unconstitutional. But it then got rejected by another court on procedural grounds. Yeah, it's never been tested. You and I, if I just describe it to you, I think it's insane, right? The Secretary of State should not have dictatorial powers.
I don't know the laws behind it. So
let's assume I'm right.
Sure.
Assume I'm right. Yeah. You would disagree with the idea that the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, Marco Rubio, whoever it is, has the power unilaterally to throw out people who have broken no laws because he didn't like what they said. Surely you, as a free speech guy, would be opposed to that.
And by the way, the way you're making it seem like is you're quick to forget what happened under Biden. You're quick.
I just said Blinken too.
Speech was
I just said Blinken's name. How can you say I'm quick to forget Biden?
Do you know how many?
No, hold on. How can you say I'm quick to forget Biden? I just said Blinken.
I'm just reminding you how many people on YouTube got strikes, videos taken down. What things we couldn't talk about? We couldn't criticize anything about vaccine, COVID.
That's not true.
You know how many strikes I got?
You're exaggerating. You couldn't criticize anything about vaccines. I was there at the pandemic. People were criticizing vaccines. You were
and
criticizing
videos
vaccines.
were disappearing like this. I can do easy research for you, send a report to you. Okay. Videos were disappearing like that. People that were talking, creating content, massive YouTubers were disappearing.
So hold on. You've just made my point for me. A minute ago, you said America's much better than the UK. Now you're saying America's dictatorial too, so we're agreeing.
No, I'm not saying America's better than UK. When it comes down to arrest, we don't arrest.
What it was Ramey Sostek. I just showed you.
Do you want me to?
I can go through the list. Should I go through the list? Mahmoud Khalil.
Are you really going to defend
I know these people.
UK versus US?
I'm going to say right now the US is much worse than the UK.
Stop it.
And actually, by the way, the UK.
Stop it.
Hold on. The UK is really bad right now.
When's the last time somebody knocked on your door and said, Mehdi, be quiet, you're talking too much?
You know, the UK is. By the way, I don't want to defend the UK. The Labour government in the UK passed a law that criminalized Palestine Action. You heard of this group, Palestine Action?
No.
It's a group that went and threw paint on some, it broke into a military base and threw paint, and they assaulted a police officer, fought with them. I can't remember what the charges were. But they were classified as a terrorist group alongside ISIS and some far-right white supremacist groups. Insane. There's no intelligence for this. They rammed it through Parliament, got it voted on, and then they started rounding up people. I don't know if you've seen the videos. Every weekend for the last few months in the UK, people were protesting against the genocide. Little old ladies, a guy in a wheelchair, vicars, priests, grabbed by 2 police officers, arrested, you're a terrorist, because they said Palestine Action. You can't say Palestine Action. So I'm not going to defend the British government. They're deeply repressive right now. But funnily enough, Elon Musk never talks about cases like that. He always brings up the cases about
Tommy Robinson.
all of that stuff.
I'm sure you're a big fan of Tommy.
Oh, yeah. And he's a big fan of mine. But the biggest threat right now, there's no more repressive law than this law they did to basically, if you go out and say Palestine Action, you say the 2 words. If I go to the UK tomorrow and say Palestine Action, I will be arrested.
So what do you think about what happened to Henry Nowak?
Who's Henry Nowak?
Remind me. You don't know who Henry Nowak is?
I will if you remind me.
Can you pull it up, Rob? Henry Nowak. This is the guy in Southampton, England, last year, December 3rd, 2025. 18-year-old kid is going home, murdered by Vikram Digwa. The video just came out. The Vikram guy stabs Henry Nowak. That's the problem. Media is not even talking about this. Stabs Henry Nowak. I don't know how many times. Cut and stabbed Nowak a total of 5 times with a knife. When police arrived, Digwa accused Nowak of assault, and officers handcuffed Nowak. He died shortly after being handcuffed. The video came out, I think, yesterday, Rob, if you want to pull it up. And it showed the guy can't breathe. He's having a hard time breathing. He's telling the cops, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. All of a sudden, he dies. And they said, no, you said some racist comments. Rob, I sent the video to you in the notes if you go to it. So,
okay.
So
what's the point of that?
But I'm going to tell you what's the point of, no.
It's horrible.
No, but because the cops sided with Digwa, they said Digwa told them that he made racist comments. And with the guy saying, I was stabbed by these guys, he's running away. They caught him. The guy had an 8-inch knife, the typical, the Sikh, what do you call it? Ceremonial knife that they have. You know which one I'm talking about.
Yes, which now
he gets stabbed.
Now they want to ban.
Can you?
I did see British politicians say they want to ban it, and I didn't realize the context. This is the context.
And this is the context. And they said they wanted to ban it. Keir Starmer came out today and said, no, we're not going to ban it. But you know what you can't have in England? You know what you can't have in England? You can't even have pepper spray. Pepper spray has not been legal since 1968, but they can have that knife. How that makes any sense? So for me, you and I can cherry pick stories on both sides to create rage on why this or that, but the stats are the stats. So when you're saying that story about America and UK, you hear a story like this, where is the rage with this? Where's the outrage
That's not
with
even
this?
a free speech story. We were talking about free speech. You brought up stats about social media arrests. And I'm saying to you right now in the US, you can be arrested by this government, detained for a year without charge because you said something the government doesn't like about Israel, by the way, about a foreign country. It's not even about the American government.
Yeah.
You're not even criticizing the American government. You're criticizing a foreign government.
I'm going to go look it up, and I'll give you my response to you personally
Look up,
myself.
have them on your show. Have Mohsen Madawi on your show. Have Badr Khan Suri, who's in court right now, on your show. Georgetown student. These guys were picked up off the streets by men, unmasked men, unmarked
Do these
cars.
people love America?
Yes.
They
Why
love
are they
America.
Here?
I don't know. Are they planning on staying here or going back home?
Mahmoud Khalil is married here, has a kid. He had a kid while he was in prison. Donald Trump, the Family Values Party, the Republican Party, didn't let this guy be with his wife when she gave birth, didn't let him hold his baby.
What do you say about Henry Nowak, what I just showed you?
I think that's horrific.
That's UK.
I think that's horrific.
But this is the
I don't
part
know
that's
I don't know the details, but obviously the police got it wrong.
This is the part that kind of, so you represented the media on the left, okay? So Rob, can you go back to that story, that New York Times, if you search the 2 different words, of George Floyd versus what happened with Novak. You just had it up right now a minute ago.
Come on, you're going to do this?
No,
the
he's gonna
media
be
is
fine.
the media is.
But wait a minute. Wait, this is New York Times. Go to the first one.
I'm not a fan of the news.
You type in Henry Nowak. How many names? Results 19. Go to the next one, Rob. George Floyd 6397. There is no incentive to tell this story because it doesn't go with the narrative.
So I disagree with you. I grew up in the UK. Right-wing media has been telling these stories all my life. All I've seen is black people and
listen,
Muslim
UK
people
is getting
on the front
destroyed.
pages. Have you looked at the front pages of the Daily Mail, the Daily Express? What do you mean
Sure,
the UK is being destroyed?
You think UK is doing good?
Yeah, I mean, no, but not for the reasons you think.
Why do you think UK is not doing good?
I think economically it's doing very badly. It had very
Why?
bad leadership for the last 15 years. I was there. The conservative government that came in 2010
Yeah.
did an austerity program after the financial crisis.
You put it
basically
on Cameron.
destroyed.
Cameron is
David Cameron
yeah.
and George Osborne
Yep.
did an austerity program that basically gutted the British state, gutted our competitiveness, didn't cut the deficits, actually ruined our fiscal credibility, downgraded our credit rating, destroyed our growth over the course of a decade, undermined our health service.
Do you put anything tied to immigration to that?
No.
None.
Immigration's been a boost for the British economy. In fact, cutting immigration is bad. Look at Brexit. Brexit's been a disaster for the British economy. Do you know how many people in Britain want to rejoin the EU? A majority. Pull that up. The majority of Britons want to go back into the EU. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is, Pat?
Do you think?
Why do you think Britons want to go back into the EU?
You
just said Britain's being destroyed.
No, but
I'm
have
saying
you
they
looked
want to
at the,
rejoin
have
the
you looked at the
EU.
crime numbers? What's going on in UK?
Crime is very low.
Have you looked at
Crime
what's
is
going on?
very low, Patrick.
So let me ask you.
Do you know what the crime rate in London is?
Did you see the tweet that
You know,
came out
I know you're not a fan of
yesterday?
Sadiq Khan. You're not a fan of my good friend Sadiq Khan, are you?
What EU did? You saw the tweet that came out. What EU was saying they're doing, that they want to find a way to get rid of illegal immigrants.
Okay, you're jumping around, Patrick. Britain is not in the EU. We're talking about Britain. You just said Britain's being destroyed, which is nonsense. And then you said crime rate. Have you looked at the London crime rates? Last year, London had its lowest per capita murder rate since records began, had the lowest volume of homicides for 30 years under Sadiq Khan, third-term mayor, who people in America, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, get very worked up about. I don't know if you guys get worked up about him. Been a very successful mayor, and crime has come down by record numbers. Violent crime and murder.
When you're looking at EU, do you know which country in EU has the lowest rape rate?
Talk about the UK, Patrick.
Stay with UK. Stay with
The UK is not in the EU anymore,
UK,
sadly.
EU, to me, I'll put them somewhat together in the
Even
same
though
area.
they left 10 years ago.
By the way,
Okay.
so you're saying immigration coming from all these countries has been a successful project for the EU?
What's your definition of success?
Many different ways.
Economically, the EU desperately needs migrants. Have you seen the age rate? Pull up the demographic.
Okay, so
it's a dying continent with a very low birth rate, as Elon Musk likes to point out.
So when you think
They got
about,
no one there to work, to pay taxes, to look after the elderly, to run their health services, etc.
So maybe the one argument I'll go to see what you'll say about this. Do you think the West, when it comes down to West, Muslims can coexist with the
we just
West?
took a handbrake
I'm
down
curious. I'm curious.
We went from Britain's being destroyed to London crime to EU to Muslims.
I'm curious.
Okay, we got to
Tell me where you are with this. Do you think they can
I'm
coexist?
Muslims.
Okay.
What do you think my
Do you think they can coexist?
Do you think I can coexist with
I
them?
think you can coexist.
Why me?
Educated, you're a worker, you're now a capitalist, you're contributing, you're creating jobs. I would say you're net positive.
Do you not think most Muslims do that?
I don't think depending on where they're coming from, they don't, because if their countries did a good job, why would they leave it?
War that we caused?
War that who caused?
That we caused.
So they're leaving because of us.
Well, you know the big controversy in the UK over the boats, the small boats coming across the channel. Do you know what the top 3 nationalities are in those boats?
Tell me.
Iran number 1.
Okay.
Afghanistan number 2. Iraq number 3. Now,
So-
Iran is a current war. Let's park Iran. But are you telling me we're not responsible for the mess in Afghanistan and Iraq? Come on.
When you look at this, let me show you this. Rob, can you pull this up? When it comes down to, let me see which one I got here.
I love Rob bringing up these.
No,
I love he brings this up.
I know you like numbers.
No, I love it. I love being proved right as well. It's
Per
good
capita.
for my ego.
No. Per capita. Per capita. When you look at the countries, Rob, I think you got it. Gulf states, how they perform per capita versus some of the other Muslim nations.
Okay.
Look at this one here.
Because they got oil and gas.
You think it's only oil and gas that's causing them? You don't think?
Did you know what these countries were like in
Let
the
me ask you a
60s
question.
and 70s?
Iran has plenty of oil.
Yeah.
How come they're not in here?
Maybe
Iraq
there was
has got oil.
Can I answer your question?
But this has been going on for a minute. This is
Can I
not a
answer your
one-year
question?
thing.
Can I answer your question?
Sure.
Why do you think Iran's not doing well economically? Should I go through the list?
You're going to say it's sanctions. You're going to say
Of course I'm
going
gonna
to
say
America.
sanctions.
You're going to say it's America's fault.
Not just America's fault.
So how
but
come
but partly, hold on. How much, okay, you left Iran during the Iran-Iraq war, right? Is that
I
when you
left Iran after Khomeini died, 6 weeks after Khomeini died.
Okay, so Iran-Iraq was done by then. So Iran-Iraq
July
was
15th, 89.
So Iran-Iraq was done. Iran-Iraq was
was done.
1980 to 1988.
Yes.
$600 billion of damage done to Iranian infrastructure, the economy, the cost of that war.
But
that was a
whose
war that
fault is
Saddam
Whose fault
Hussein.
is that? Oh, you put it on Saddam.
Whose fault do you think it is? Who invaded who?
So, by the way,
hold on, Patrick. Come on.
You don't at all put that on IRGC?
No, I put it on the
You
guy.
don't put it on Islamic Revolutionary
I put
Guard?
it on the country that invades the other country. That's how the world works. I blame Russia for the Ukraine war.
Why
They
do
invaded
they have a hard
Ukraine.
time getting along with other people?
Why did Saddam Hussein? Are you pro
Iran.
Saddam?
No. Why does Iran have a hard time getting along with other
That was
people?
when I said. I said there was an Iran-Iraq war. You said, is America to blame? I said, yes, we backed Saddam Hussein. Did we not back Saddam Hussein? Did Donald Rumsfeld not fly and hug? You can pick up Rob can bring up a video of Donald Rumsfeld hugging Saddam Hussein in 1983 in Baghdad. Were we not supporting the Iraqi invasion of Iran that cost Iran 1 million lives?
I lived there.
$600 billion
I lived in the
of
capital.
infrastructure damage. You're saying that didn't play any role in Iran's economic future.
Why don't they?
You're not answering my question.
No, but you don't understand what I'm saying.
No.
But Mehdi, let me ask you.
You want me to acknowledge that?
No, but look, let's give credit to, for instance, when Mamdani goes to the White House, you and I both gave credit to both of them for being diplomatic.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think Iranian leadership with the IRGC is diplomatic?
No.
Do you
They've been horrific in their leadership. I think they've given themselves, they've given their opponents a stick with which to beat them. I was a big critic of Ahmadinejad back in the day. He said dumb things.
So do you think Khomeini was good for Iran?
Do I think Khomeini was good?
Do you think
for
Khomeini
Iran?
was good for Iran?
No, in hindsight, of course not. If you look at the record
So
today,
then we're on the
look at
same
what we
page.
left behind.
What I'm trying to do is
I've said this before. I went on Piers Morgan's show. Just to be clear, for people who don't know, I'm Shia. Right? I'm a Shia Muslim.
I know you're Shia,
Which
yeah.
is the majority religion in Iran.
Sure.
Right? So I do, but there are two types of Shias. This is a very crude, I'm trying to explain to your audience. Religiously, theologically, politically, there's two types of Shias. There are those who believe in what's called Vilayat Faqih, WF. They believe that Khomeini, this was a political theory, some say a religious theory, pushed by Ayatollah Khomeini, that said that the clerics, the Ayatollahs, the mullahs, whatever you want to call them, they should rule. Power should be with them. That is the model that Iran has followed. There is another school of thought that comes out of Iraq, mainly out of a city called Najaf, and an Ayatollah called Sistani, who is the leading Shia Ayatollah in Iraq today. And they say, no, we are all for religion. We're all, we want everyone to practice Islam, Shia Islam, but we're not going to rule. After the Americans toppled Saddam, Ayatollah Sistani did not do a Khomeini. He did not say, I'm going to become supreme leader of Iraq. He said, have elections, democracy, vote. I'm going to stay in my house and I'm going to give you advice, religious advice when you need it. I follow the Ayatollah Sistani view of the world, crudely put. Sure. I don't follow the Ayatollah Khomeini view of the world. So when you say to me, was he good for Iran? As a governmental system, no, I don't support the governing system of Iran the way it is. But you're changing the subject. You're avoiding you are.
I'm not.
There was an 8-year war. We were talking about Iran's economy.
I lived there. Trust me, I lived there. I witnessed it.
I understand.
You should entertain the idea of living in a Muslim majority country, see what it's like.
I understand.
I lived there.
You're jumping around.
I'm not.
You were talking about the economy.
Iraq, Iran. I'll let you finish your thought, and then I'll go back to my question that I have.
So
go ahead, finish your thought.
I'm going to finish my thought. Well, it doesn't. It's a thought that requires a response from you, which is if there's an 8-year war that Iraq started and we supported, that cost $600 billion to Iran, that took out 1 million members of their population, and then was followed by crazy sanctions. Are you telling me then that it's fair to compare that economy with Abu Dhabi? Are you seriously telling me that's a fair
comparison? Can you go back to that chart again, Rob, for me? So you just defended Iraq, right? That we backed up Iraq.
Yes.
That went against Iran.
Yeah.
How come they're not on the top GDP per capita on this list?
Do you know what happened to Iraq after the Iran-Iraq war?
So now you have another reason. It's America's fault again.
I mean, do you study history, Patrick? Do you know what happened in 1991?
But do you
we did a Gulf. The Gulf. Saddam idiotically invaded Kuwait.
This is victimhood language for you to say. So on one end,
wow.
On one end, you're saying this. On the other end, you say, no, it's because
you're
of this.
Comparing countries. You're showing me a graph comparing countries that have never been bombed, invaded, and occupied with countries that have been bombed, invaded, occupied. And then you say, why is the GDP per capita higher in one, not the other?
Why haven't
That's an insane comparison.
Why have they made so much progress? Why? They're Muslim majority.
Yeah.
Okay, why have they made so much progress?
I mean,
and by the way, at this point, just so you know, the argument is now not about Muslim.
I know it's not.
I know, but the argument is why are some winning, some are not?
And I explained war plays a big role in this.
Well, Mehdi, a part of it makes
I just
sense.
pointed out to you the 3 biggest refugee groups on the boats going into England are Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan.
Sure. Yeah.
Coincidence? No, those are war-torn countries.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm trying to tell you is even with that, if you sit here and say every single time everything is America's fault, what responsibility do they take? Do they take any responsibility that they're not making the right decision for other people?
Just to be clear, people can rewind. I know Rob does screenshots, but people watching on YouTube can rewind. Never did I say it's all America's fault. I've never said that. Have you read? You said you've read my stuff. You've seen my stuff.
I've seen your
I'm
stuff.
very critical of Muslim majority countries. I am very critical of the Iranian government. I'm very critical of the Saudi government. I'm very critical of the
feedback would you give?
Emirati
What do you
government.
think they can do?
I do a show for Al Jazeera, and I grilled the Qatari foreign minister on that show
so-
about the lack of democracy.
Dude, I've seen your
I'm
stuff.
critical of
I know,
Arab
I've seen your-
governments, Muslim government, Pakistan.
Do you
I'm critical
think?
of all these
Do you think the Middle East is a safer place with IRGC in charge of running America, or somebody like a Pezeshkian, more the moderates?
Of course, I'm more of a moderate. I would like to see. And again, who undermined the moderates in Iran? Sorry, it's going to be the answer
I
you don't
agree.
like.
Oh,
The
but
United States of America.
No, I disagree.
The United States of America.
No, I disagree. I don't think that's the
did?
case.
Who
Israel.
Oh, well.
No, I don't put
Our
it on-
proxy then
No, but
undermined.
listen to you were not expecting my answer.
No, because I don't
they-
accept this fake split between U.S. and Israel.
But this
Sorry.
is not it. But let me tell you I do, because what I see going on right now is I see Israel, in a way, I actually like what's taking place. Let me explain to you why I like what's taking place. A part of what's going on right now is the world is able to see Bibi's motive versus Trump's motive. Like, you remember that one time when the Trump and Bibi are on stage speaking, and he's saying, yeah, we're thinking about taking over Gaza, and we're going to build a hotel here. And then you see Bibi goes like, wait, what? You never told me that. He kind of got, I don't know if you remember that session or not.
Okay.
Okay.
The West Bank equivalent.
So a part of it for me, I like that this is happening because I prefer this to be in the public's eye. I prefer for Trump to show, hey, listen, if I want to go become a prime minister of Israel, I would do it. You're there just because of me. I like him saying that publicly.
All right.
I like that is taking place. But to me, who wants IRGC to be gone?
So a couple of things. On the Trump point, I agree. It's better these things happen in public, and there is a weird upside to Trump having such a big mouth and saying crazy shit all the time. There is a pro to that. I get that. But let's not forget, Patrick, you saw the New York Times big piece where we discovered from Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan that Benjamin Netanyahu went to the Situation Room and made the case to Trump with Mossad joining via Zoom or wherever it was, and he persuaded Trump that this will be a walk in the park, cakewalk, all of that shit. That happened in private.
What's your percentage that happened?
That happened in private.
What's your percentage
high,
that
high
happened?
percentage.
Give me a number, 80%?
80%.
I'm 50-50 that happened.
Okay. You think Trump did it on his own without
No. I said I'm 50-50, meaning I believe there's a 50% chance because...
But you don't deny that behind the scenes, the Israelis are putting pressure on the U.S.
Of course I know.
Okay. So then to come back to your
But
broader
I don't
point,
think he's Bush. I don't think he's Obama. I don't think he's Biden. I don't think he's those guys.
in many ways, he's worse.
No. I don't think
He doesn't have any independent views.
The one thing I know with you, Mehdi, is the fact that no matter what he does, he's not going to get victory from you. We have to put those two.
Again, you can go back on YouTube, rewind an hour. I said if he restrains Netanyahu in Gaza and Lebanon.
You said
But
if.
he won't. I know he won't.
No, I understand. But have you ever given him any credit for anything he's done? When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.
In the first term, I wrote a piece for The Intercept. I got a lot of shit for it because I said credit where credit's due. He's going to withdraw from Afghanistan. Remember, he laid out that timeline that Biden then got attacked for following. It was a Trump timeline to pull out of Afghanistan.
He did it. The way
Trump
he did
would have
it.
done it better. Come on. It was always going to be a disaster. No matter how you pull out of Afghanistan.
There was many military personnel said there was better ways to leave.
No, I don't agree on that. But
many military.
Can I come back to
personnel
your? Can I come back to your wider point?
Tell me.
Oh my God, he's showing me. I need to take a shower now. Bravo, Donald Trump is the headline. Rob's too fast. All right, so let me come back to the wider point. Forget Trump.
I always knew. I introduced him properly at the beginning. Big MAGA supporter.
That's 2020. 6 years ago. We all grow, evolve, learn from our mistakes. So the broader point about America and Israel, Iran, to go back to your IRGC point, forget Trump for a moment. Let's just take U.S. foreign policy as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
When you say it's Israel, I don't accept that. I think this new thing on the right where you say, Tucker Carlson, Joe Kent, all this line, which is like, America's good. It's bad Israel making
didn't say
good
that.
America.
That's
I'm not
not
saying
me.
you did, but I'm saying
No.
others.
Yeah.
It's becoming a very
Sure.
consensus view, which is America's really good, and then evil Israel comes along and makes good America do bad things.
No.
We need to take agency and responsibility. We are the superpower. And when Israel's murdering Iranian nuclear scientists or murdering Iranian diplomats who might do a deal with them, we have to take ownership for that. They don't do that without an American green light. They didn't kill Khamenei without an American green light. They don't do shit without an American green light. So I don't buy this idea that Israel is some rogue force, going back to the Barak Ravid point about there's all these splits between the president and the prime minister. 9 times out of 10, America and Israel are on the same page. 1 time out of 10, they're on a different page.
Yeah. So
we had moderate
that's
presidents in
not-
Iran. They got screwed over. Khatami, Rouhani. They got screwed over by
But
Western governments that wouldn't do a nuclear
Israel
deal.
went out and killed the 50 guys. You know, we could have worked together, whatever. They kept, and Trump kept saying, everybody we're negotiating with, they're killing them. Who's they? Who's he saying
And you
they?
think Israel can do that if Trump wanted them to stop? Come on.
No. What I'm saying to you is Israel, when they get their intel and they want to take somebody out, you remember the pagers. They got very good intel. They don't have a problem going and doing what they're doing. I understand Israel's motive.
So do I.
I understand Israel's motive.
But I'm saying they get a green light from the U.S.
I don't think as much under him as others. I do think they're an ally for the Middle East. And I'm not, like, you're a business guy now. You're a capitalist. So one of the
Stop
things you'll
saying
experience,
that.
because you're a capitalist, it's
my God.
nothing wrong. You should be proud of it. You should be, look at the smile on your face. You're making more money than ever
Smiling
before.
because
You're
it's a good
free.
line.
Life
It's a
is
good
good.
line. It's a good line.
Are you making more money or less money right now?
I'm making more money.
That's good. There's nothing wrong. We should
I didn't
be
say
proud of it.
Did I say that? That's
But
not my
here-
definition
But
of
here's where I'm
capitalism.
going with this. In the last couple of years since you've been private, how many opportunities have you had to do deals with people?
Many?
Many. When you're on the call, do you know their motives?
No.
Their motives are typically beneficial to who?
Themselves?
Themselves. Is that something that you and I would be surprised with? No. Why are you here today? Why do I have you on today? It's going to be a good show for us. Why are you on here today? You don't live down the street. You came. There's a motive.
Yes.
Both of us have a motive, so both of us are winning from this exchange that we have. Okay.
Understood.
In that sense, the way they negotiate, then it goes to who's the better negotiator. Then it goes to who gave up more. Then it goes to all the other stuff that you got to go through, and you got to make adjustments.
Well, Trump is a horrible negotiator. And as Benjamin Netanyahu said, these are Benjamin Netanyahu's words. For 40 years, I've dreamt of attacking Iran. He's the only president who would listen to me. Those are Netanyahu's words. I'm
For 40
paraphrasing.
years, Trump
Every
said
president said no.
in 1987 he would go and take over Carrick Island. He said that in 85. You make it seem like this guy's not an independent thinker.
Well, he's not independent.
Trump said that in 85.
Hold on. He also said, none of us knew they would hit the Strait of Hormuz. None of us knew they would hit the Gulf countries. You idiot. Everyone knew this.
You can't give him credit that he said this 40 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that one thing consistent.
Oh,
but what about the actual
I don't know how
war?
this one thing he did. I
Okay,
don't know how
come
he.
on.
I don't
Okay,
know how he
Patrick,
came back and
Patrick,
won
you keep
a
asking me to
election
give him
2 term.
credit.
Yeah.
The Iran war, you praised them on day one of the Iran war. Would you accept today it's been an absolute disaster because Donald Trump is not a war leader? He doesn't understand foreign policy. He doesn't understand what he just said this week. I'm bored. You know what he said this week? I'm bored of all this.
Mehdi.
Like a child.
Mehdi, let me tell you what it is. You know, I
Don't
have
criticize him.
I have a local doctor I want you to go see. He specializes in TDS. And I think you would work very well with him. Over a 6-month period, he'll be able to get rid of your TDS.
I have a guy who's a psychologist, and he deals with cult members.
Yep.
And I think he'll do well with you guys who can't get out of the Trump cult.
See the
right?
difference?
I asked you,
The
I
difference-
gave you an opportunity in front of the audience to
difference
criticize Trump
between-
on Iran. You can't do it.
I will.
It's been a disaster.
Can I tell you?
Please.
The difference between you and I
Yeah.
is I will sit there and I'll give credit and I'll criticize.
I'll give him credit. What should I give him credit
I am
for?
more supportive of him than you are.
What should I give him
Because
credit
the longer you're a capitalist, you're gonna want somebody that's pro-capitalism.
The economy is horrific under him.
Because
my
it's
business
under
is
war
doing
right.
badly because of him.
It's in,
Because of the war?
No,
Who
no,
started the
be-
war? He did.
I take ownership that he started
so
the war.
So when you say give him credit,
Can I
what should
finish?
give him
You're
credit
gonna
for?
allow me to finish my thought?
Please.
Did you give him credit with Venezuela?
No, of course not.
So
Illegal
that's
action.
that's also no.
He broke international law, American law, the Constitution.
So that's a no for you as well.
He killed a
So
grandmother.
Let me ask you a question.
And he brought this
When
guy
they-
into a court case that he might lose.
If they take over Cuba, would that be a victory in your eyes? Or you so give it already
of course
criticism
not.
up front.
You think I'm supporting? You want me to come here to Florida and support imperialism? You support imperialism.
So
you
you're-
support just invading other countries.
So you go
criminal,
back. You
Patrick.
go criminal. Well, how
Yes.
the hell do you think America got so big? What do you think they did? It was an expansionist James Polk ideology of let's go out there and buy all these other places.
Was there international law, the UN
No,
Charter, the
that's-
Geneva
that-
Conventions at the time?
But you're sitting here complaining about something like this where you're living in a country. It's because of the byproduct of the visionaries previous to us. that they made it what it is today. Why do you feel so safe here?
Bizarre argument.
Why do you feel so
Because
safe
we
here?
once
Why do
got
you and I
Alaska,
feel
we
so
should
safe
go
here?
conquer Cuba.
No, that's not what I'm telling you.
Sounds like it.
If they're expanding, I don't mind an expansionist president. I don't
You
mind
like
it.
imperialism. So
I
how
don't
are you
mind-
different to the IRGC?
I don't mind an expansionist.
How are you different to the IRGC?
Are
Everyone
you
says.
kidding me? An
Everyone says
Islamic revolutionary
they're
government.
accused-
Everything is above. What
they're
God
accused-
tells them what to do,
No,
and
no, 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 no.
that America, death upon America.
They're
No.
accused of being expansionist, of trying to take over the Middle East. That's the big allegation that the Gulf states make against Iran. And yet you're sitting here saying, "But we should take over the Western Hemisphere."
By the way, do you know what I would actually say?
I'm
to
not
that?
imperialist.
Let me ask you a question. You got how many?
Insane that we're having a conversation about
How many
imperialism.
subscribers do you have with your channel right now that are paying you
On Substack?
on Substack?
I'm not going to say that number.
Let's say it's 100,000 people.
Okay.
There you
No,
go.
It's not, sadly.
Okay, but let's just say you have 50 to 100,000 people. You're doing well. You're making good money. Okay. Have you taken any viewership from anybody else?
What do you mean?
Are people watching you that used to watch somebody else on YouTube?
course.
What an expansionist you are.
this is-
what a shameful
time is
expansionist
it? 2:00.
capitalist.
I've been with you for 1 hour and
bullshit
20
Mehdi.
minutes.
This guy's expanding his YouTube channel,
this
but
is-
God forbid anybody else does it.
I've waited an hour, 20 minutes for you to say the dumbest thing with respect, Patrick. That is
I've
not an
noticed
analogy.
every time
that
you
is
say
the
the dumbest
worst
things is when you
analogy.
get cornered. What do you mean you're expanding?
That is the worst
You're
analogy.
expanding.
Did
By the
I
way,
go into the New
you're-
York Times? Hold
you're-
on. Let's
you're
take your
expanding.
analogy. Did I walk into the New York Times and abduct the editor-in-chief of the New York Times,
Yeah.
put a bag
Have
over his
you-
head,
do you have
and
any
take
employees?
him out in
Do you have
order to
any
undermine
employees?
the New York
Do you have any
Times?
employees?
Yes.
How many of them came volunteer? How many of them did you recruit and hire away from another company?
How many of them did I get with a gun and a special forces team?
it's not-
You're making a ridiculous analogy.
my
If you
goodness.
expand
If-
as a business, that's the same as illegally occupying other people's land.
What la la land are you living in? Like, what do you think happened to this
world
world?
of law.
What do you think happened to this
You
world?
do realize the problem that the MAGA folks have when they say this is you lose any credibility to criticize anyone else. You can't criticize Iran then. You can't criticize Hamas.
I don't.
You don't criticize Hamas?
No, I don't criticize. If you're able to expand,
So if Hamas goes into Israel, you're for that.
it's not about if I'm for that or not. If you're able to successfully do it, that's your vision. I know I have to defend against it. What do you think companies do? How do you think companies work? What do you think companies are supposed to do?
I think it's insane that
Wait,
you're
wait a minute,
comparing
but I'm-
business expansion
What do
to
you,
us
why
going
do you
around
think
the
we have
world
military?
killing people.
Mehdi, why do you think we have military?
To
For what?
defend ourselves.
Against what?
Threats.
Against
But
another
you
one
wanna
trying to
be the
expand.
threat.
I'm not saying that.
You think Cuba's trying to expand right now?
No.
You think Cuba's trying to expand?
think-
Where are they expanding to? Miami?
No.
You've been living in Miami
maybe,
too long.
By the way, maybe
I think you've been drinking
maybe
too much
that's
Miami
their
water
fault.
too
I actually
long.
rarely go to Miami. Maybe that's their fault. Maybe
what's
that's
their
their fault.
What's their fault?
Maybe their ideology, communism, created a poor country, and their people want
Maybe,
something better.
but that doesn't give us the right to go and take over the country.
How do you think all this stuff happened in history?
Okay, lots of things happen in history that weren't right.
Yeah, but guess
This
what?
is 2026.
Dude, you understand you've taken market share from other people. Your viewers were somebody else's viewers that came to you.
So you support.
Kudos to you.
So you want just to be clear, you want some kind of law of the jungle where might is right, power.
What do you think the law
No, you're
is?
fine. You're
But
fine. with
what
it.
do you think
I
the
noticed
law
you don't
is?
answer any question.
No,
it's a very simple question. Yes or no? Do you support
I'm
a law
saying-
of the jungle
what do you
where
think-
might is right?
Do you believe
Is that
in
what you support?
non-compete?
You can't answer a question with a question. You have to answer the question. Do you support a might is right view where law of the jungle, whoever's powerful gets to do what they want?
I'm trying
Sounds like
to
that's what
find.
you're
No. I'll answer it for you. I'm trying to find out what other law of the land you think we live in. Help me understand.
We have domestic law, we have international law, we have criminal
what
law.
is the what?
I don't know where you're living.
What do you use? Do you
This
use?
is, you've been in
do you
Florida
use?
far too
Do you
long.
use ChatGPT or do you use Claude? Which do you use more?
Probably ChatGPT more.
ChatGPT more than Claude. Okay. Do you know when it first started who had the biggest market share?
ChatGPT.
Oh, who do you think's killing it right now?
Claude.
Claude's picking it up. Why?
Because they invaded another country, kidnapped the president.
Because they produced a better product.
Did they?
And
hold
this
on,
is
hold on.
why-
Did
Mehdi.
Amade? What's the guy's name? Dario Amade. What's his name?
Yeah.
The guy who runs Claude.
What-
Did he go into Sam Altman's house in the middle of the night,
It's-
take Sam Altman
that's
and his
the-
wife, put bags
that's
on
the-
their heads, and
that's-
fly them back to his compound,
Yeah.
and kill a grandmother
That's
in the
only
process?
difference. The only difference is that, but war is
That is the
nasty.
big difference, Patrick. I can't believe you don't see it.
No. I understand what you're saying in the argument of that, but the reality of it
Answer
is,
my question.
which
Do you
is
support
what?
a law of the jungle where the might is right. Do you support a world? Do you like living in a world?
Be
Are you
specific.
pro? Are you pro? Do you support the idea of living in a world where powerful countries should be able to do what they want?
Can I ask you a question? What country?
keep answering
But by the
question
way,
with a
but I'll
question.
answer- why do you
You
live in
gotta answer the
America?
question.
Why do you live in America? The most
'Cause I
powerful
like the
country in the
law.
world.
You know what I
Because
like about the
it's
US?
the most powerful.
No,
Go live in Iran.
No,
Go live in Iraq.
I don't live here because it's the most powerful country.
Why do you live here?
Because many reasons.
Give me.
One is it's a country that's governed by laws, principles, free
Great.
speech.
Yes.
I love the First Amendment,
Great.
the Constitution.
Yeah.
I don't favor presidents and people who say we should just break the law because we
I didn't
can.
say break the law.
What do you mean? Taking over Cuba is
No.
breaking the law.
If-
UN Charter. That's the law of the land.
If if they come and they try to take over,
Who's coming?
whoever it is, Trump's already talking about it. Rubio's already talking about it.
The Cubans are not taking over anything.
No, Cubans are not taking over anything.
We are launching a war of aggression, like the Nazis. Nuremberg called it. You know what the Nuremberg Tribunal called a war of aggression?
I'm
the
assuming
supreme international war
Is
crime.
it fair to say you were against tariffs on day one?
Yes.
I was for tariffs. Guess what Supreme Court ruled?
Against terror.
Okay, great. Guess what? You adjust.
Okay.
That's what happened. If they go...
You want to live in a world where Trump says F the Supreme Court, and that's what J.D. Vance has said on the record.
Not at all.
J.D. Vance has
Not
said
this
this on
guy.
the record. But you just said you
No,
want to
I'm not.
powerful
I'm not.
people
But let me
get to do what they
look.
want.
Let me tell you.
You said it. Everyone
today,
can watch it.
Trump's the president. Okay, a few years ago, Biden was the president. In 2028, AOC could be the president. Newsom could be the president. Rubio could be the president. Somebody else could be the president. Right? Every time the opposing side is the president, the opposing side thinks it's the end of the world. What ends up happening to America? What ends up happening?
Bad things.
No, not necessarily. Eventually goes back to normalcy. And it's like, I'm going to go the
I
other.
look at the Trump first term and I see 500,000 people killed from COVID because he couldn't handle a pandemic.
But do you know why, though? What protects America the way it does?
I would argue our laws, constitution,
I agree.
principles, history.
I like Supreme...
And you're saying I want to throw it all out
No, but
to have an imperialist nation.
If a leader comes in that is a visionary leader that wants to expand and grow, and he can do it within his terms, and Supreme Court and law allows it, I don't mind him doing
First
that.
of all, the Supreme Court law doesn't allow it. Venezuela was unconstitutional. Congress declares war in this country.
Yeah,
not
then if that's the
not
case,
the president.
well, we saw that with the 60-day rule with Iran.
He's violated that.
I understand that, and they're working around that right now in different ways.
American law. What about international law? Even if the American Congress votes to attack Cuba, that doesn't make it legal in international law. You can't attack other countries.
Mehdi, let me ask you, if, for instance,
tomorrow you'll say 9/11 was
people,
just. Do you support 9/11?
Innocent.
Do you support 9/11?
No.
Why?
No,
Al-Qaeda could do it. They did it. According to your logic, Al-Qaeda had every right to do it.
There's a difference between me supporting it and then them doing it and then me retaliating to you. Like right now, if you and I were sitting
But you
here,
don't think it was illegal?
do I? Of course it's illegal.
Why? According to you, it doesn't matter.
No, of course it's illegal.
Oh, so 9/11's illegal,
No,
but us attacking Cuba is legal.
I didn't tell you. You never heard me say attacking. If they can go and take it over without attacking and the laws allow it, guess what? I'm for it.
That's a whole different argument.
It's not
if
a whole
the Cuban
different...
people vote in a referendum
you,
to become the 51st
don't
state.
spin right now and make it seem like I want to go kill people and take
You
stuff over.
defended Venezuela. We killed people to get him out.
I never said... But by the way...
You said give him credit for Venezuela. You did say that.
You don't think that was a good move?
No.
You don't think that was a good move?
I don't believe you should. I don't support regime change. I don't support assassinating foreign leaders.
What
did George Washington say? Don't go abroad looking for monsters to slay. Or was it Adams? I forget. Founder.
So you don't support what he did.
I do not support the United States government.
Well, I thought that was a
attacking
massive
foreign
victory,
countries,
especially the way they did it,
and killing foreign leaders. Even if it has a good outcome, I don't support it because I support laws and principles.
Well, I do also support laws and principles. But if you say you support laws and principles, you're trying to tell me Obama followed everything?
No.
You telling me
he violated the law in Libya. I criticized him for
every one of them.
Because I'm not in a cult, I criticized Obama in 2011 for doing Libya.
You know what's the difference between you and I and them?
I criticize people on all sides. You don't.
Yeah, we do. We do it as well. But you know what's the difference between you and I and them?
Go on.
What's the difference?
You and I and who?
You and I talking, giving our opinions, and Obama and Trump. What's the difference between you and I and them?
We're not politicians.
They made it into the White House.
Okay.
And so they're going to be able to do whatever they're going to do. You and I can talk about it, give our opinions.
We don't have an imperial presidency. We shouldn't have an imperial presidency.
That's why we have the freedom of speech of giving our opinions.
No, we also have a vision of America, which is supposed to be a restrained commander-in-chief. The founders came to. We're celebrating 250 years of American history. They came to this country from where? From my old country, the UK, to get away from a mad king, not to recreate a mad king.
Okay, so we can get past this. I mean, when maybe the next time we'll do the podcast, we'll do it in Cuba or Venezuela, just for the sake of what we'll enjoy ourselves with. Anyways, let me get to the next story with you. By the way, Mamdani, Spencer Pratt, what commonality do you see between the two of them?
Very little.
Very little.
Very little.
Tell me why.
Because I know this is argument that says all of these candidates who make a lot of noise, do well on social media, are similar. But I think people have underestimated what Mamdani is. Mamdani, yes, is charismatic, had a great social media game. I interviewed his team that made his social videos. Great people, smart people. The video he did where he jumped into the water, freezing cold, to show freeze the rents. The video he did for halal.
You're saying Mamdani or
Mamdani. I'm just talking about his campaign was brilliant online. No doubt about it. The halal.
Maybe one of the best.
One of the best, yeah.
Maybe one of the best.
One of the best.
And the guy that
came out of nowhere, 1%.
Yeah,
polling
I agree.
1%.
I agree.
But what happens is a lot of Democrats took the wrong lesson from that. They said, This guy is so good on social media. We got to hire the same people who did his social media campaigns. We got to do video. Did you notice after Mamdani won the primary, suddenly you saw all these congressional Democrats primaries
Doing
making
similar things.
walking down, same videos, same cutaways, same. And they think that's how you replicate Mamdani. They misunderstand. Mamdani, yes, the social media game helped him get his message across, helped him get the youth out. But at the core of Mamdani was a very clear message. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compare him to Trump right now.
Careful.
I'm going to compare him to Trump. Donald Trump, I asked this
want you to get
question to
fired.
everyone. I can't get fired. So
You're a capitalist. You're free.
I'm free. 2016, I say this to everyone I talk to about politics. I said, tell me, I say this to leftists, I say this to liberals, I say this to Muslims, I say this to non-Muslims. Tell me what Donald Trump's 3 main policies were in 2016.
What was it?
You tell me, what was his slogan? Do you remember what Donald Trump, what did he run on?
2016?
When he first ran, what did he run on? What
Get
was his,
rid of these rapists and all this stuff.
ban
That's gonna
Muslims, build a wall. Remember that? That was all his big lines.
build a wall as one. Yeah.
So we remember all those slogans.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Do you remember what Hillary Clinton's lines were? No.
I'm for her, and that's about it.
No.
First female president.
But her own slogan, which
Yeah.
she had a great, 77-page childcare proposal, I'm sure. I'm sure it's better than Trump's. But people don't campaign like that. And I think what Mamdani did is, even now, you ask me, what does our Mamdani run on? Okay, freeze the rents, free buses, free childcare. It was message discipline around a set of policies that people identified with, that helped with this ridiculous affordability crisis, that made him seem like he was in touch. And I think if Democrats only take away, or people in the media only take away from Mamdani that, the guy's slick, he smiles well, Trump loves him, he does great social videos.
You don't
That's a
think Pratt has
mistake.
that?
I don't think, what's Pratt's main policy platform that's going to get people out for him?
The fires, homelessness.
Everyone says they want to deal with that. That's
Yeah,
nothing
but
unique.
that's because that's
The
what's
guy is a
happening in
reality
LA.
TV star. I'm not a fan of reality TV stars running for president. I wrote a piece saying Oprah should not run for president years ago. Although I have said Jon Stewart should run in a
Do
primary.
you think
just for
Spencer
fun.
Pratt stands a chance?
Yes.
He does.
Because America's fucked up right now.
You think Spencer Pratt stands a chance?
Donald Trump is president of the United States twice. I'm never going to rule out anything in this country. I thought Trump wouldn't win in 2016. That's how dumb I was in 2016. That's why
Let
I
alone
don't
2024.
do predictions anymore. No, 24. I said he would win, and I said he's going to win, and he's going to be a fascist.
When did you say he'd win in 24? When
All
was
of
that?
24. I spent all of 24 warning.
Got it.
I said, get rid of Biden.
So
I said, Carlin needs to change her performance.
You think this is the new era? You think that this is the new era of types of people that run for president, which before you
Which is not good.
general, military, all this stuff.
Yeah,
now
I
it's-
don't think it's a good thing. And I wrote this piece when they were thinking about Oprah. Do you remember a few years ago, people were pushing
Of
Oprah Winfrey's
course.
name? And I wrote a piece for The Intercept saying, come on, no, let's not go down this road. I do think you need politicians with charisma. And that's why people think of Hollywood stars. That's why someone like, I love Jon Stewart. I would love Jon Stewart to run in a primary just to shake things up. I don't
He'd
think
be
he'd-
fun.
I don't think he'd be a great president, but I think him running would just add to the race. But my biggest problem is I take politics seriously. Let's to go back to. I've been studying. I've been a political journalist for 25
This is
years.
your sport.
I did politics at university. I did politics at high school. I do debate. I take this shit seriously, and it annoys me when look at Donald Trump. What did he say yesterday? I'm bored. I'm bored of the Iran negotiations, like a freaking child, right? You cannot have people who are unserious
You can't help
people.
yourself, can you, with Trump?
Unserious, I can't. Unserious people in charge of our countries.
Have you ever met him, by the way?
No.
You've never met?
I've never met Donald Trump. No. No. Should I go to a White House briefing?
No, I'm just trying
see
to
if I
see
get
if
called
you've
on.
ever met him.
Should I go to a White House briefing and try and get called on by Caroline Levitt?
Did you?
I got a few questions.
Did you meet
Imagine.
Biden?
Did I meet Biden? I'm trying to think. I was in an event with Biden. I don't think I met him, but I was,
Obama?
no, he was before my time. I arrived at the end of his presidency.
Did you
I was
interview
in a room with Obama. I interviewed a lot of his people, Ben Rhodes, a lot of people around him.
Not him.
Not the president.
Okay,
The president
got it.
gave me an interview. Then I was out. Yeah, no.
Got it. Surprised you've never met Trump.
No.
Would you want to meet him?
I'm a journalist. How would I not want to meet him? I'd love to interview.
What would you ask him? What 3 questions would you ask him? You sat with him. What do you ask him?
I mean, I'd only get 3 because he'd walk out after 3.
You think he would?
thin-skinned. Oh, he's super thin-skinned.
You think he would
Yeah,
want?
look, he gets upset with like, I regard American interviewers to be softball interviewers. I'm from the UK where we do tough interviews. My biggest criticism of the American media is weak-ass interviews. Nora O'Donnell barely asked him anything the other day. The guy had a meltdown. He's like, you're so rude. You're so rude. You're so disgusting. He just can't handle. He's got such a thin skin. He's the whiniest leader
Well,
we've
he
ever had.
asked about, if I'm not mistaken, he asked about the guy's letter
Yes.
that had to do with rape and
Yeah.
pedophilia and something like that.
Yeah.
She started with, and you could tell she was nervous when she asked the question.
This is CBS. This is now in the can for
Sure.
Trump. Let's not
Yeah,
forget.
sure.
This is the guy who says, be quiet, piggy, to reporters. He can't handle tough
So what do you
questions.
ask him? You got 3 questions. What do you ask him?
I would ask him, I wouldn't ask him opinion questions. It annoys me when people say, what do you think, mister? He loves that shit. I would ask him fact questions about what is happening in the world. I would ask him, it depends on the day, right? If I'm interviewing him right now, I would say to him, you said, my opening question would be, you said a few weeks ago that people say Donald Trump's going to get bored of this war. I don't get bored, you said. And yesterday you said, I'm bored of this war. How do you explain that? That would be my first question, Aaron.
What else?
I would say to him, are you out of your depth in this conflict? And I would give it the evidence as to why he's out of his depth and ask him to deal with each of those examples. For example, the Strait of Hormuz. For example, the Gulf countries. I also wouldn't be able to resist having some fun. I always think someone should ask Donald Trump. I would love for someone at a White House briefing to stand up and ask something that completely exposes this man's pig ignorance of the world. I would love someone to stand up and say, Mr. President, when will you be going to Wakanda? They are building a Trump Tower there and they love you in Africa. And he would say, I love them too. Because he doesn't know that Wakanda is a fictional country.
You think he would say that?
110%.
You think he would say that?
I would pay money to any White House correspondent watching. They get fired on the spot by the network.
It's obvious. Do you put him as an intelligent man? You put him
What's
as
your depends how you define intelligence.
Well, how do you-
like street smart, getting ahead, getting his way? Yeah.
Sure.
Like he wouldn't be able to get where he got to. if he wasn't.
He's probably not a well-read guy in your eyes.
That's an understatement. I think
Yeah.
he's one of the most ignorant people I've ever come across. You seen the latest stuff? He keeps being like, I call them Democrats. You have to take the B off of dumb. Most people don't know that dumb has B on it. No, most people do know that. You probably just discovered that there's a B on dumb. You know, there's a Trump tick. I watch him so much. Whenever he says most people didn't know this, it means he just discovered something himself 2 minutes ago.
You literally think he just discovered how to spell dumb?
I know it. And talk to the people who worked with him. We're second-term Trump, Patrick. I don't have to make this stuff up.
Yeah.
Dozens of people have now left the administration, have told their stories, and it's all the same thing. The guy is an egomaniac. The guy is vain. The guy is dumb. The guy changes his opinion based on the last person he spoke to.
This is a guy that won in business. This is a guy that
He didn't
won
win in
media.
business.
This
5
is a
bankruptcies
guy-
in a row. You're more
this is a-
successful than
this
he
is-
is.
This is a guy that took a show
in
from 0
business.
to
He's not
1,
Steve
15
Jobs,
years.
for
This is
God's
the guy,
sake.
dude, the guy won
Oh, you-
presidency two
Apprentice?
times.
I give you Apprentice.
2 times.
I give you Apprentice. Great reality TV
Yeah,
star.
2 times.
Great. I'm not going to question his ability to run a reality TV star. I'm questioning his ability to run America.
How do you think about his kids? Do you give him compliment as a parent, as a father?
No. Have you read the stories about
You don't
his
think he's a
children?
good father? Why do you think his kids love him?
You think the kids love him?
You don't think they do?
I mean,
Why do
if you
think
read
they
if you
wanna
read
be
some of
around him all
the
the
if you
time?
read some of the tabloids, well, money and power can be
You think that's
great.
the only reason? I know
Well,
a
if you
lot
read-
of billionaires
again,
that kids don't want to be around him.
If you read the New York tabloid press that Trump was very friendly with, the kids didn't like him when he was young. They were annoyed that he was cheating on their parents, his respective mothers. Things changed. There's stories about him allegedly. It's denied.
There we
There's
go.
stories about allegedly him, slapping Don Jr. at college in front of his friends, and all sorts of stories. I don't know if they're true or not, but this is what's reported. Tiffany Trump, he never
Coming
talks about.
from a Muslim and a Middle Eastern dude, what did our parents do to us when we were kids? Did you ever get slapped?
That's, of course.
Dude, are you like, you and I don't have the permission to say anything with that.
No, that's
so we
fair.
got to
That's
change the
fair. I
subject.
withdraw that.
Yeah, withdraw
He
that.
didn't go to his son's. He didn't go to his son's wedding so he could do troll posts about Ro Khanna. Ask
Nah, I
yourself
don't
that
think he didn't
question.
go to the wedding because they had to go back for the war and everything that was going on.
Come on.
Question.
Not a great-
When it comes down to Muslims, 2020 vote to 2024.
I love you.
Curious.
You did whatever you did.
Hang
You
on.
came back
You-
to
no,
Muslim.
you-
Why are you
you
obsessed
like-
with Muslims?
you like
Because you left
stats.
Iran.
I want to give
No,
you
I want to know
stats.
why you're obsessed with
I
Muslims.
want to give you stats.
You know there was a terrorist attack on a mosque recently.
I want to give
Did
you.
that bother you?
I want to
Patrick?
give you a stat.
Did that bother you?
Can I, Mehdi, invite me to your show? I'll
Oh,
answer
I'm
questions
inviting
for
you up
So
to this.
here we go.
Sure.
So
you've all heard
Twen-
it. He said
twen-
to invite him, Rob. You heard it. Everyone on YouTube heard it. I'm inviting you to a
Okay,
show.
all right, so here
Got
we
a lot
go.
of questions for you.
2020, Biden had 69% of Muslim votes.
Yes.
Trump had 24%. 2025, Kamala dropped the Democrat vote from 69 to 50%. Trump went from 24 to 31%. Third party got 12% and increased by 9%. Why did Muslims become Republicans?
Gaza.
Gaza.
There are other issues too. The bathroom transgender issue in places like Michigan. A lot of conservative Arab Muslims didn't like that.
Yep.
They don't like that was happening even before Gaza. No doubt about that. But it was still a kind of fringe issue. What made it an
You
issue
said
in the
the
Muslim community?
the LGBTQ.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there were conservative Arab
Yeah, yeah,
communities
yeah.
in Dearborn who were like,
And
we don't
I'm
want
glad
this.
you brought that up.
We
So-
don't want this. And they
Yep.
brought that up. That was
Yep.
before Gaza. There's no debate that some was shifting already to the Republican Party.
Sure.
But they were a tiny minority. The vast majority of Muslims still voted. Democrats still supported, still understood. The Republican Party is Islamophobic. White supremacist adjacent party right
You think
now.
number
has
one
Randy
reason is
Fine in it.
You think number one reason why they vote the other
Gaza
side
by
is
a
because
mile.
of Israel?
10 miles.
Okay.
Gaza. No, not Israel. The Gaza genocide. You have to understand, I spoke to a lot of these people. I traveled through
Yep.
all these communities in 2024.
Yep.
And I tried to point out, yes, Biden and Harris are complicit in a genocide. No one's defending the Democrats. I was very critical of the Democrats and what they did between 2023 and 2024. But Trump will be worse or as bad. He's not going to be better. And people bought the Trump shtick. No, he's anti-war. He didn't start any new wars. He's not interested in the Middle East. He's friends with MBS. He's friends with Erdogan. It's going to be great. I met Palestinians who told me Trump will be better on Gaza. He's transactional president. They bought that shit. Look at him now. Look how many Arab countries have been bombed. But Muslims were not voting for Trump as a whole. You mentioned third party too. Jill Stein picked up a lot of votes in some places. Not as many as people thought she would.
12%.
Of Muslim votes, yes.
Yeah.
So in certain places. So
majority was like
but my bigger,
2%.
But my bigger picture is every time I said to someone, Trump is going to be worse than Harris, they said legitimately to me, but we have to punish the Democrats. That was the line. We have to punish the Democrats. They can't be seen to get away with a genocide. And when you say Kamala dropped it to 50, well, Joe Biden dropped it to 50. Harris kept it at 50 by not distancing herself from Biden. Her biggest single mistake was going on The View, and my friend Sunny Hostin said to her, what will you do differently to Joe Biden? And she said, nothing. And the minute she said that, I knew she's lost. But that was it. Until then, I had some hope. She could beat him. She was leading in the polls after the convention.
Is this the worst candidate you've ever seen on the left? In our lifetime. This is your sport.
I don't think she's as bad as people thought she was. I think she was definitely handed a poison chalice.
Who's worse than her on the left?
But who's ever had a 100-day campaign? Like she got a shitty legacy. Let's just be fair to her, right? If we're going to be fair, we should be fair that she got a shit. Joe Biden should not have been in the race until July of 2024. No, that was insane.
I'm with you on that one.
She then got
you
coronated.
Saw what Joe Biden came out and said,
what a load of bullshit from Joe Biden. She's like, I thought he had a stroke that night. No, you didn't.
And then the video says, oh, Joe, you did so good.
Yeah, we saw you that night.
Yeah.
If you thought you had a stroke, why didn't you call the White House doctor? Bullshit, but rewriting of history. I did a video that night after the debate in my basement, in my home studio. I got attacked for it by some people saying Biden needs to stand down. It's ridiculous. And I still think Trump should stand down. He's also got mental issues. But Harris was a good candidate for a very short period. She had all this momentum, the honeymoon period. Americans love rehabilitation. You give somebody a chance. She comes in, she gets a boost. She runs this, I'm Joy. Remember that? Goes to the convention. I was at the convention. It felt like a freaking party. I remember a member of Congress was there.
As if it's already
a Democratic member of Congress said to me, this is bad. We have not won. This is way too early. There's a member of Congress said this to me, a lefty. And I remember sitting there watching, Beyonce is going to be here. It wasn't Beyonce, it was fucking Leon Panetta. But anyways, bizarre. We come out of that convention, and then she starts tacking to the right. She starts saying all this shit about, what was it? Oh, they were shutting down Lena Khan, the antitrust stuff. She had Mark Cuban, Liz Cheney campaigning for her. She campaigned more with Liz Cheney than with AOC and Bernie, right?
By the way, that was horrible move.
Insane.
Horrible move.
It didn't win over anyone.
Did you think that was a good idea?
No, I said at the time. At the time, I said, these people are not going to switch over. Olivia Troy, who's a good friend of mine, former Trump official turned never Trumper, she was part of that. And she admits now, I've interviewed her. She says, yeah, we tried, but we thought there'd be like this mass of conservative women that would come over.
How much money did they raise? 2.1, what was the number? 1.5 billion or 2. That's a big number.
It was a lot.
Yeah. But so
But she also had her brother-in-law, by the way. There's a lot of reporting that suggests Kamala's brother-in-law, her sister's husband, I think it's Tony West is his name, big Uber lobbyist. He was pushing her to drop all the affordability, good stuff, drop the ads. There was poll testing
some controversy with him as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't
Tony
know.
West,
But the affordability agenda that she dropped, she should have gone economic populist, right? She did not go economic populist. Instead, she campaigned with a billionaire and with a war criminal. And I think that was a huge problem. And then she went on The View and said, no change. This is a change election. You can't go into change elections. I'm not going to do anything different from the guy who's going out. It was just
So you think, okay, so go to 28.
But she could have won, by the way. He didn't win a landslide. Trump lied his ass off.
What do you mean she could have won? She lost every single state, 7 states.
Have you looked at the numbers? In the 3 key swings.
She helped more counties become Republican in America.
Have you looked at the numbers? If 115,000 people had voted differently, she would be president. That's what it came down to in our ludicrous system. She lost by 1.5 percentage points. One of the narrowest. He got one of the narrowest wins in modern American history. You know that, right? I know he lies, and people like you give him credit. He lies. He says, I won a landslide. He won one of the worst. You can pull it up, Rob. I wrote a piece for The Guardian with all the receipts.
Every county became more Republican in America.
Pull up my piece.
Every
Guardian,
county
2024, Mehdi landslide. Type it out.
Can you please send this chart to this man here?
Pull it up.
The Muslim community is becoming more Republican,
Patrick,
which is great.
Patrick, will you give me permission to read from your screen?
Go for it.
Can we scroll down?
Yes.
This is a great moment for me, taking over your show. Scroll down. Keep going. Stop. So the former president's margin of victory over Harris is a minuscule 1.6 percentage point. Actually, it's 1.5. It went down after that. Smaller than that of every winning president since 1888 other than JFK and Richard Nixon. In fact, in the 55 presidential elections in which the popular vote winner became president, listen to this. Oh, your viewers are getting some good facts today. 49 of those 55 elections were won with a margin bigger than Donald Trump's in 2024. I hope the president is watching your show. I know he's a friend of his. He's coming on the show.
Can you do me a favor?
Donald Trump, you lost.
Can you show
You won with a
how many
49th
counties?
Who gives a
this
fuck about
guy
counties?
Won.
I'm showing you the margin of victory.
Dude, Mehdi.
He won by
if there is
1.5.
anybody
You can raise your
that has
voice, but I've already done my
If
receipts.
there's anybody that has
I'm
no
good. I'm
room
done.
to say anything, look
done.
at this
My
here.
receipts are up.
Look at this here.
Oh,
you
Patrick,
run away. Look
I love
at this here.
You know, land
he
doesn't vote.
converted Muslims
Patrick,
into Republicans.
Patrick, you know, land doesn't
Dude,
vote. I love these. I love these
just
maps.
gave
that
you-
people, that's land.
You showed us that.
Land doesn't vote.
Dude,
I gave you the numbers.
voted for him.
Still more for the Democrats.
No. Muslims went from 24% for
I'm
Trump
not
in 2020
denying.
to 31%.
Patrick, I'm
He's
not on the right.
winning your people over.
Patrick, and it kills me. Patrick, I'm not on the right. I'm not an election denier. Donald Trump won, but he didn't win 50% of the vote. You know, people say he won the popular vote. You know, he didn't win a majority of the votes. He's running three elections.
I know that, but
you know, he's run three elections.
You know who? You
and
know
he's
what?
never
Who's
won
the
a
last
majority of
Republican
the
that has?
George W. Bush.
Yeah, it's the last one that did it. It's not a. That's not like a. Oh my God, he didn't win the majority. You know.
But he hasn't. But he brags and says he does.
Yeah, but-
he's never won a majority of the vote. Today he's polling in the 30s. He's lost. By the way, he's lost all that support from Latinos, young people, and Muslims.
Yeah.
You accept that, right? That coalition he put together is gone now.
Yeah. So this the part where guys like you come out and they'll say what they'll say.
They'll say facts.
Did you see the spot? Did you see his endorsement? How they did? Did you see his
Which
endorsement? How they did? Everybody he picked. Did you see how many of them won?
Oh, in the primaries.
Yeah. Did you see?
Great news for Democrats. That's
Great
the
news.
bet.
Tell
You
me
think-
why. Tell
you
me
think
why.
James Tallarico wants to run against Paxton or Cornyn?
I'm actually curious. Tell me why.
No, he picks horrible candidates. Remember, what was the Georgia candidate? They should have won Georgia and they lost. Who did they put up? Herschel Walker. Remember that? Remember Herschel
that I
Walker?
remember.
Remember the dude
Good
in
running back.
Alabama?
He had a hard time speaking,
Remember the
though.
dude in Alabama who was accused of child molestation that he denied? I can't remember his name. Alabama guy from his first term. He backed him. He
Talk
lost.
about now.
He picks.
Talk about
he picks
now.
bad candidates.
117.
Why would you back Paxton?
117.
Yeah, but why would you back Paxton? Let's just talk about the main.
Tell me why you. So you like establishment candidates like
not about what
Cornyn, 40 plus
I
years.
hate John Cornyn. I hate Canton Paxton. But
it
who
looks
do you
like
want to
you're-
run against? I want the Democrats to win the Senate, obviously, to save democracy.
So you think Tallarico does better with Paxton than he does with Cornyn?
You don't?
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you.
No, I ask you
I
first.
100% think he's going
that he's going to do better.
Well, the polls show he's doing better.
Yeah.
I mean, just trust the polls. He's leading in the
So
polls.
you think his power? By the way, do you guys in your family celebrate Pride Month?
Do we celebrate Pride Month?
Yeah, I mean,
what
it's
does that
Pride
mean?
Month. I'm just asking. Like, do you have a way of celebrating Pride Month? Because
Not
Tallarico.
personally, but I support people who do. Do you see Mamdani yesterday?
No.
Interesting couple of posts. You
What
know,
did
he
he
was
say?
like Muslim Sharia. He's
What
an
did he say?
extremist.
What did he say?
People on your side. 9 a.m. He posts Happy Pride Month. Mayor of New York.
Yeah.
Midday, Happy Eid. Hosted Eid at Gracie Mansion. That's modern America. People that want to make this guy into some kind of extremist. You guys on your
You
show.
think-
I see
you
you getting
think
worked up about
Tallarico-
prayers in New York.
you
This
think-
guy, Zoran Mamdani.
You think Tallarico? Okay, so by the way, I think Tallarico's formidable. It's not like I don't think he's
Yeah.
formidable. I think he's a very good communicator. I think he's to be honest with you, I think he's a better version of
this
Pete
far.
Buttigieg. I think he's a better version of Pete Buttigieg.
Okay.
I think he's got a bigger upside than Pete Buttigieg.
Okay.
So I think
he's very talented.
I think
I've
he's very
interviewed him once.
talented.
I want to interview him again. He's a very, very good talker. His policies are good. Texas is difficult. My wife is from Texas. I spend a lot of time in Texas. I'm under no illusions. It's a difficult state to win, but it's not as red as Republicans want you to believe.
Not
And-
anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
And I think that they could have probably won with Cornyn, but I think now it's in play. And you have to ask, what is Donald Trump's political strategy? You know, Patrick, that every Republican senator is pulling their hair out wondering, what the hell did Donald Trump do here? He's now put the Senate in play in a way it wasn't in play before. Because even if Paxton wins Texas, they have to divert a bunch of resources from other states which need them more to protect him. That's the problem, strategically.
For Paxton or Tallarico?
For the Republicans trying to save their Senate majority, they're going to have to divert resources to
you know how much
defend
money they're
Texas.
going to spend on this?
Yeah, but it could have been spent elsewhere.
We're going to see the money going there in ways we've never seen
But it could have been
before.
spent elsewhere.
Could be. I mean, that's the
They
part
got a
about.
tough race in Michigan. They got a
Yeah.
tough race all over.
By the way, just out of curiosity,
They're losing in North Carolina.
I'm curious what you're going to say with this. So, out of curiosity, you have two people to choose as a candidate. One is a hardcore Republican, capitalist, pro-Trump guy who's a Muslim. Second one is a hardcore socialist, progressive, liberal who is a Christian. Which do you vote for?
Obviously, I vote for the person whose values and policies I support. I don't vote based on religion.
So you would vote for the second person.
Of course.
Because the values and principles.
Of course. I don't vote based on religion. Mehmet Oz ran against John Fetterman. He would have been the first Muslim senator. If Abdul El-Sayed pulls it off in Michigan, he will be the first ever Muslim member of the United States Senate in American history.
Yeah, we've never had one.
We never had one.
Yeah.
Mehmet Oz
We have
could have
5 congressmen.
Mehmet Oz could have been the first Muslim
But he would have
senator.
been a Republican.
Exactly. And his policies were horrible.
So for
His
you,
fealty to
that's a no-go.
Yeah, because I don't care. It would be nice
So
to
it's
say, hey,
policies
a Muslim
over faith.
Of course. But then, by the way, who did I back against him? Literally the worst Democratic senator, he turned out to be John Fetterman. But let's put that to one side. But Mehmet Oz, yeah, I don't vote on religion. I think it's crazy if people vote on religion. You shouldn't vote on religion.
Okay, so
Muslims shouldn't vote for Muslims. Jews shouldn't vote for Jews. Christians vote. You should vote based on your policy platform, the principles and values.
Do you think we'll have
Muslims are not a monolith. I don't agree with all Muslims. You just mentioned some of them who vote for Trump.
Do you think long term America will be at a point where we'll have a Muslim governor or a Muslim president?
Muslim governor, I hope. Maybe Mamdani. He can't be president, right? So where does he go next after
He
mayor?
could be governor.
He could be governor, he could be senator, right? He can't go anywhere else. Secretary of State, whatever it is.
Yeah.
He can't be president, sadly.
Not even
tragically.
VP, right? VP, you can't
No,
even be
because
VP.
you have to be-
So
be-
Speaker of the
you have
House,
to
you
be
could be, though. I think that if he chooses to go that route.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Because
Can you
if he's-
pull
because
that up,
Speaker
Rob?
of the House is third in line to the
I
presidency.
think you could be Speaker.
But then what if the president, vice
I know,
president, God
I
forbid,
know, on the
dies?
same plane, but that's why they're not on the same flight when they go. You'll notice some of the stuff that they do.
Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to the question.
Listen.
If you're ineligible from the presidency, can you be in the
Yes,
line of
the
succession?
Constitution does not require the Speaker of the House to be born in the U.S.
But it
So,
means they would have to skip past the speaker if something happened.
yeah,
to the
it would go to
president. Okay.
somebody else.
So he could run for Congress, be speaker, he could be whatever. But to come back to your question, yes, Muslim governor, I think hopefully very soon.
Yeah.
Inshallah, as Joe
Inshallah.
Biden might say. And
President?
President, I don't think for a while. Look, let's first get a woman president. This country is so behind the rest of the world. We haven't had a woman leader. Pakistan's had a woman leader. Bangladesh has had a woman leader. Most European countries have had a woman leader. America still needs to do that basic thing. And
What do you your thoughts on, a lot of people in America, you got things that's happening in Texas with that one city, what is it called? Epic City or something like that in Plano, Texas.
Yeah.
What do you say to some conservatives that are worried about Sharia law making it into America?
I would say, please do not worry. You're being lied to. You're being gaslit. You're being distracted. This is a fake moral panic that's been blown
Because
up.
it'll never happen, or because Sharia law is not that bad?
Because it's not two different things. Number one, Sharia law is not what you think it is, but that we can park that for discussion for a moment. I'll come to that. It's not happening. There's nobody I know who's pushing Sharia law in this country. It's completely fake, and it's being pushed in ridiculous places, not just Texas, Oklahoma, Indiana. Did you see the lieutenant governor of Indiana said recently, we need to hate Islam. It's a demonic religion, right? And I'm going to fight radical Islam and Sharia. Do you know what the Muslim population of Indiana is? Less than 1%. Like, this is ridiculous fear-mongering.
It has 3x the U.S., I think, in the last 26 years, if I'm not mistaken.
there's
Muslim
still-
population.
but it's still less-
not Indiana.
But it's even nationwide, what is it? 1 to 2%.
I want to say 4.5 million.
It's one- which
5
is
million.
what?
Yeah, you're right.
1 to
It's 1 or 2%. But by the way, you're 3x and in 26 years. It's not like you're not doing a good job. You're growing.
We're growing. Elon Musk wants people to have more kids. But my point being is, it's not going to happen. But also, a few things. Number one, please let's not talk in this demonizing way about Muslim communities being a threat to you, because it has real world consequences. We just saw in San Diego, a mosque was attacked by 2 Nazi teenagers who shot and killed 3 people, including the security guard, who had 8 kids. Police say he was a hero, saved 100 kids in that mosque, in the school, right? Murdered by 2 guys. Do you read their manifesto? I don't like reading these shooters'
I did them.
manifestos.
I read the whole thing.
Some of the lines in there are crazy. They say, what they say? They
Towards
go,
everybody.
Towards everybody. Jews, women, Muslims,
Right.
gay. But the line about
Republicans.
the line about Muslims is really scary, because they say, we don't hate Muslims. We hate Islam. We hate the invasion of our country. That is rhetoric that you hear on right-wing media. That is rhetoric that you hear in the House of Representatives. That is what you hear from Randy Fine. That is what you hear from Republicans. That is what you hear in America. So that is not just some Nazi shooter. That is mainstream rhetoric that has been mainstreamed on the right, and has real-world consequences. If you say, look, I've seen some of your shows. You've talked about Muslims praying in Times Square, that being some kind of threat. I would say just have a sense of what the real world consequences of our rhetoric can be. Words have consequences. Crazy people out there can pick up weapons and think Muslims are coming to take over my country.
I would tell you, I've interviewed a lot of weird people on my podcast. A lot. You tell them, I'll have them on. I don't have a problem talking to anybody. I had a great conversation with Wes Moore.
Yeah.
What was it, 5 weeks ago? I've had mobsters on, Sammy the Bull. I've had Kobe on. I've had, many different people on. You know what's the only one that brought so many death threats? Bibi was the only one. I've had a lot of people on.
Okay.
Multiple presidents. We did a podcast with Bibi. I've never told this story publicly, so they'll know. It was on my birthday, and I come out of the podcast. My security says, there's a guy in the front lobby that just got caught with cops with grenades. I said, this is a terrible joke here because everybody always tried to prank me for my birthday and I always catch people. Like they're trying to surprise me. I'm like, listen, this is not the right way to do it. He says, I'm not laughing. This is an 18 Delta guy. And I said, really? He says, yeah, look at the front gate. So I go to the front gate. I'm looking. I'm like, wait a minute. What is that? Cops everywhere. Guy shows up. I'll show you the pictures afterwards. With grenades, with weapons, with guns that came in here. And the number of death threats that we started getting afterwards, insanity, just for having BB.
Dare I ask, what was the guy's background? Do we know?
I couldn't tell you. I know he went away. I know they took his weapons away. I'll show you a couple texts and emails.
Was he quote unquote far right? Was he quote unquote Islamist? Do we know what his ethnicity was?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know that. I have no idea what that was. But the point is, the threat started increasing only after BB. So here's the part. When you say that, I think that applies to both sides.
I agree.
If you think about like who in the
100%.
history of America has had more assassination attempts as a president, where do you think that's coming from? He's a fascist. Hitler, this, that.
But
He's a bigot.
he deals it out. He's the one who started the threats and the violence.
I'm not going to sit here and apologize for him.
He
not
calls
being a
his
fighter.
opponents Nazis.
He's called a lot of people a lot of things.
He called Biden a Nazi.
But the guys, after how many times they called him, he couldn't get anything right. When he was coming up, the media was just...
Come on, in 2016, he suggested the Second Amendment people should take care of Hillary Clinton. Come on, I have a longer memory. But let me come back to what I was saying. I agree with you. We need it across the board. I don't think we should have political violence. I don't support political violence on any end. I don't justify going after capitalists or anyone else. I'm against violence. So I'm saying to you, for example, you did a show recently, or not recently, I looked it up because I knew we were going to talk about Islam here. You have a show on YouTube called Islam's Hidden Threat to the West. You have another headline, Will Muslims Run America in 30 Years? Now, I know you like to host good faith discussions and debates, but you have to understand, if people get this in their feeds and their social media all the time, are you telling me that people are not going to start, if they hear Micah Beckwith of Indiana say Islam is a demonic religion, and then they hear guests on your show saying Islam's a threat to the West, and they hear Randy Fine saying Sharia law is taking over America, you don't think two Nazi teenagers with guns are going to go, well, I'm going to go deal with this mosque down my street? You're telling me there's no link between that?
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I'm not going to say there's no link between that. Of course,
we have to be careful. Let's not. We know that demonizing minority communities. Look what happened to synagogues. And I would say the same thing about the Jewish community. We have to be careful about our criticism of Israel, so it doesn't lead to attacks on Jews.
The question becomes, for me, it's all on data. Meaning, if you live in my community, you make it safer. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
If you come in, you create jobs. I'm all for it. If you come in, you assimilate. You love America. I'm all for it. If you come in, you don't contribute. You take advantage of the programs that we have. You don't want to create jobs. Where is the incentive? Why are we bringing?
That's a different argument. We can have that argument. It is. I'm talking about incitement. When you say Muslims, are they going to run America in 30 years? Of course not. We're 1% of the population.
I don't think so. No,
when you say Islam is a threat to the West, come on, 1% of the population.
By 2050, you guys are going to be the biggest population in the world. You guys make 2.9.
But not in America. Not in America. Okay, we're not even going to be. We're not even.
Oh,
pull up the numbers, Rob. What are we going to be in 2050?
The difference between you and I is, I think long term.
And even if, by the way, if we do grow as a community, even that. This is, I'm sorry to go back to World War II and the Nazis, but look at the rhetoric that Nazis used about Jews in 1920s, 30s. These people are aliens, they are parasites, they're leeching off our state. The rhetoric is, it's very similar. When I listen to Andy Ogles, and I listen to Chip Roy, and I listen to Randy.
Yes. You think Ilhan Omar loves America?
Yes. You know how I know she loves America?
You think Ilhan Omar loves America?
You don't?
Absolutely not.
She absolutely loves America. You know how I know she loves America?
Tell me.
Because she came to America, she decided to run for office. When she ran for office, she ran as a lefty who devotes her life to trying to improve people's lives. She wants healthcare for everyone. She wants healthcare for every Trump voter watching this show.
Speech of saying she is eventually going to return to her country and contribute to her country. She's only doing this to advance her country.
This is bullshit. Ilhan Omar.
It's her words. Pull up the video.
Listen to me.
Pull up her video. It's her words. I just showed you Sam Piker, and you're like, I've never seen that video.
Let me say this to you.
Go ahead.
Donald Trump has made more anti-American remarks than Ilhan Omar. If we're going to go down who loves America, she loves it more than Trump does. She did insider insurrection.
Ilhan Omar loves America.
100 times more.
100 times more. I'm so glad
not even
the audience
1,000
can
times
see
more.
that Ilhan Omar loves America more than Trump.
Well, one person incited an attack on our democracy. One didn't. One tried to undermine American democracy. One didn't.
Well,
one pardoned 1,600 people who attacked America. One didn't.
What happened with her finances? Where did the $30 million network come from out of nowhere?
So now,
it was an accounting error.
Hold on.
I'm so sorry.
Hold on.
Stay on Elon. Don't go Trump, but
I am going to do that.
Go do the
because
Trump.
Your argument now is first of all, I don't want to get into rights and wrongs of politicians' finances. You're telling me Republican congressmen are not corrupt?
You're doing a but. Okay, got it.
No, I'm just wondering.
Forgiving Ilhan.
I'm just wondering because
Patrick, you have this whining.
No, because
Ilhan Omar amended a congressional financial
disclosure. What's that got to do with beloving America. You're telling me people's finances don't have Donald Trump is the most corrupt politician in modern American history. You just said he loves America.
Donald
Trump is the most corrupt politician in America.
That's your opinion, guy.
He just made $3 billion. No, it's not.
In your eyes.
Okay, Rob, pull up the numbers. Pull up the numbers, Rob. Forbes magazine. How much money did Donald Trump's net worth go up by last year?
Let me ask you.
$3 billion.
Just out of curiosity.
$3 billion. How did he make that?
Are you going to go?
How did he make $3 billion while president?
Are you going to go? Are you going to go and show the same? Wait a minute. If you're going to allow me to rebuttal,
you always rebut with a question.
Are you
noticed that over?
You've been doing it. All you do is yabba.
I said Ilhan loves America.
You're a professional yabba.
I said Ilhan loves America.
Just out of curiosity.
You're the jump around guy. We were talking about who loves America. Now we're talking about politicians.
Are you also going to go?
Look at that line, Patrick. Look at that line. Rob is good.
Can I show you something?
You know, you said capitalists expand, Rob. If you're ever looking for a job, my friend.
Yeah, everybody's been trying. So if you go back here, then what's your argument if you say, look, no, stay on that, Rob, stay on that.
Yeah.
Then what do you say? His first presidency, he lost so much money. Did you ever say that? You never said that. Because that doesn't add to your argument.
But I've always said the second term is the term where he's got no guardrails. He gets to do whatever he wants.
No, but his first term, he lost money.
Okay, but the second term?
What about a second term? Market's gone up. He's made money. Market's gone up. Have you made more money in the last 18 months? He didn't make it from markets.
Do you know what happened on January 19th? The day before he became president, inaugurated?
Tell me.
The Emiratis put $500 million into his crypto fund. Do you think that was the market going up? They gave a $500 million bribe to Donald Trump. $187 million went straight into Trump bank accounts. Ilhan Omar can work for the rest of her life, do whatever. She'll never make $187 million. Trump made that in one day from the Emiratis. If Biden or Hunter Biden had done it, you'd be up in arms. Now, back to the topic of who loves America.
You said Ilhan Omar loves more than... I'm so glad
I'll tell your
you're going to be
here.
judged quoted for that.
Please quote me. Let me finish the quote.
And then let's go back to
Let's
Islam
finish the
as well.
quote. I will. Ilhan Omar has spent her political career trying to get free lunches for every American child, including the children of MAGA voters. Donald Trump has spent his presidency taking away Medicare, taking away health care from people, taking Medicaid away from people. So yes, Ilhan Omar loves Americans more than Donald Trump loves Americans. And by the way, when she was threatened by a Trump supporter who tried to kill her, he went to prison, tried to kill Ilhan Omar in 2019. She went to the sentencing and she asked for his sentence to be reduced to give him grace. I can't imagine Donald Trump doing that.
Do you know
I do think Ilhan Omar is someone who has actually a very good role model.
Do you know how many endless,
I wouldn't have done that.
Do you know how many endless stories there are of what Trump's done behind closed doors for people? Do you know how many?
Yes. And do you know how many of them are? Do you know how many of them are him screwing people over? Do you know what he did to his niece? Do you know what he did to a baby in his family?
This is all you're gonna. This is your hit piece, just going on him right now.
I mean, you're doing positive. I'm going to do negative. Isn't that the point?
You're building up, man. You're building up Ilhan. Like if there's anybody,
there's no comparison. Anyone who knows Ilhan Omar says she's a good person. All of her friends, Donald Trump's people. Everyone who knows Donald Trump says he's a horrible person.
What is the investigation into her right now?
Why did no one in Donald Trump's cabinet endorse Donald Trump for president second time around?
What is the investigation?
Why did his vice president not endorse him for president?
You know how he is, though. He is a guy that he's
they
a
all
team
hate him.
of rivals.
They hate him.
Why
Everyone.
did he come back? Why
Everyone.
did he come back? Why did he come back?
His national security advisor.
Why did he come back? Why did they come back?
Because the Democrats fucked everything up. Joe Biden and Merrick Garland fucked everything up. He should have been in prison.
Whose fault is that?
The Democrats.
Beautiful.
I'm agreeing with you.
But how come
Merrick Garland? I blame two people for Donald Trump.
Unified Republicans?
I blame two people for Donald Trump. Merrick Garland and Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell should have voted to convict in 2021 to prevent him from ever running again. And Merrick Garland should have got off his ass and investigated him from day one and not outsourced it to Jack Smith with 1 year to go. And I just do want to come back to the Islam question.
Let's do it.
Muslims love America who live here. According to the polls, according to the Pew polls, 92% of Muslims in America say they love being American. This is a myth that Muslims don't love America.
No,
and by the way,
I have Muslims who work with me. Right afterwards, come with me. I'll take them to them if you want to meet them.
So my point is, and their families are worried for their safety right now. Every Muslim in America I know.
They are. I think they feel the safest in America.
Let's talk to you guys afterwards.
I think they feel the safest in America.
Every Muslim I know, Patrick, trust me on this one. I spend a lot of time with Muslims. Every Muslim I know is worried about what they're going to do. They have a plan B. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go live if it becomes intolerable?
Go ahead and leave America. How come they don't?
Because they love America.
That's the point. What if they feel the safest?
No, but what if? But it's changing, right?
But if
you don't think
12 years?
Hold on, the Jews feel the same way, Patrick. You know that, right? Jewish
what?
communities right now saying we don't feel safe in America. You know this. They're saying it every day.
Sure.
They're saying where synagogues are being attacked, we're being demonized. So Muslims feel the same way, especially when a mosque is attacked by two Nazis. Republicans can't even bring themselves to condemn it. Do you know that Ted Cruz wouldn't even condemn it?
We talked about it on social media.
You did. I'm talking about Republican Congress.
I can't speak on their behalf, buddy. I'm not them.
No, good. But
I'm speaking on my behalf. Whatever they do is their position.
But on your show too, Patrick, come on, you did a whole thing. I watched it of you obsessing over this Times Square prayer. Like this is some act of domination. Why are Muslims not allowed to pray in Times Square? Why are Jews allowed to do Hanukkah?
Expansion.
Why is Jews allowed to do Hanukkah? Hindus do Diwali.
You know what my argument is
Catholics
against that? You know
Easter.
what my argument is against that? Guess what my argument is against that? You ready?
Go on.
It's going to go back to something you don't like.
Please.
You ready?
Go on.
Here we go. If Muslims do a better job expanding, they deserve everything they get.
But it's not expanding. It's
No,
just a
but it
prayer
is
Times
though.
Square.
No, it
You're
is though.
changing the subject.
It is though. If Muslims, I'm a capitalist to the
Yeah.
core. Meaning,
Yeah.
if you beat me,
Yeah.
guess what I do? You got to tip your hat. I don't know if you follow
What if people
basketball or
aren't
not.
trying to beat you? What if they just want to pray in
no,
Ramadan?
but they're visual. You want to go watch how many of the videos like long term we're going to come America. Sure,
Have
here's
you,
where we're going to.
have you seen the Christian prayers at the National Mall? They're not the same.
No, you can't.
Have you seen? Are you kidding me?
Can I ask you a
Did you
question?
watch?
Can I ask you a question?
God,
Your
Patrick,
position-
you need to get
what
out
was your-
more.
what
You're
was
on,
your
you're on the
position?
right wing
What was your
algorithm
position?
too
What was
much.
your
You watch
position?
Ilhan Omar videos and Times
do you
Square
know at
videos
one point
all day long.
Do you know at one point I was sitting down with Muslims trying to find out what things we have in common?
Yeah.
Okay, and literally I was bringing Muslims to sit down and talk about them. You know why? Because to me, the LGBTQ, specifically on the T side, was getting a little too far. And I think deep down inside to the core, you're there, but you can't say it publicly because it's politics for you over what your religion believes in as a Muslim. What is the Muslim position on LGBTQ?
There is no one position. Islam is not a monolith, but yes, in general.
Oh, let me read it.
Hold on,
to you.
let me finish.
Go for it.
Islam in general, obviously, I'm not an Islamic scholar, but Islam as traditionally practiced,
Yep.
like Christianity and Judaism as traditionally practiced, is very hostile to the idea of homosexuality.
Okay,
Theologically.
so we have
Let me
that in
finish.
common.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Pew polling. Let me give you some polls because you keep talking about
I've followed all
Americans,
the
this and that.
polls.
So in 2017, Pew did a poll of Americans, and they found that Muslim Americans
I have it.
were more likely to say 52%, I think it was, of Muslim
Mm-hmm.
Americans said that homosexuality should be accepted in society. You know how many white evangelical Protestants said that? 34%.
17%.
34%.
Protestants was 34%.
34%.
I have that data.
So Muslims were more accepting of homosexuality.
Yep.
Rob, I love you, Rob. They were more accepting of homosexuality than white Christian evangelicals, right? So my question then is, when you talk about integration, assimilation, America is a liberal country. It's a pro-gay country,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. Muslims, and by the way, we ran a poll. We ran a poll this year. One last point, Patrick. We ran a poll earlier this year
Yep.
at Zeteo from Opinium. They polled Muslims in the UK and the US. Guess what they found? Muslims in the UK and Muslims in the US support democracy more than non-Muslim Americans and non-Muslim Britons. Muslims in America and Britain support gender equality
Yep.
more than non-Muslim Britons and Americans.
May I read
So for
you
your
something?
viewers, I just want to make clear, you've been lied to about Muslim attitudes. I'm giving you the
Oh,
numbers.
but let me ask you, what was your position a few years ago on homosexuality?
My position when growing up was very hostile. That's
Very
yeah.
conservative, not hostile, probably very
Hostile.
conservative.
It was hostile.
Okay, it was conservative.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
so
been very
if I go to
and
some
I've
of the,
talked about how I've evolved on that.
okay, so if I go to some of the countries with homosexuality, 10 countries, homosexuality is a legal punishment
Yeah.
in at least death penalties, legal punishment in 10 countries. Afghanistan,
Yeah.
Saudi, Iran,
Okay,
Pakistan,
yes,
Yemen,
we know.
Qatar, Somalia.
What's the point?
UAE, Nigeria. This is where they're coming from. Okay, so Iran and Saudi, the only two national confirmed to have carried out government-sanctioned executions.
Horrific.
For that. Horrific.
Yeah.
Not one Shia majority nation is for same-sex marriage. Iran criminalizes
And yet Muslim
Iraq.
Americans are.
Well,
Interesting.
not at the highest
Because that shows
percentage as you.
integration.
No, not at the highest percentage as you think. I think the part where
More than most white Republicans.
the part where conservatives and Muslims, if you ask me, on why that Muslim vote went from 24% to 31% for Trump is because liberals got so caught in this LGBTQ community.
part of it.
Let me finish the thought. That I brought them here to sit down and talk and say, look, you have 2 daughters, I have 2 daughters, I have 2 sons, I have 4 kids. For me, this isn't a position of LGBTQ community or not. I don't have a problem with it. They work for me. I will literally take you to my office right now to meet some of these guys and give you a tour myself. So you meet some of my staff that I have. It's about the force that was down the throat of kids. It was forcing that we have to sit there and hear what LGBTQ is all about and all this stuff being taught by schools.
I'm not debating that had an impact. It had an impact, by the way, on Latino communities too.
It did.
There's a lot of Latino
and they went
Christians.
conservative. They don't like that.
But by the way, so 2 things. One, I'm not denying that. I said I'm the one who brought it up and said it was partly LGBTQ.
Sure, yeah.
But it wasn't the big driver. The big driver was Gaza, right? And number 2,
Well, by the way, just respectfully, we're going to find out if you're right or I'm right in 2028.
I agree.
You understand what
Trend
I'm saying?
continues.
Because
But
we'll
right now, what's interesting
Fair,
is
yeah.
right now, as of right now, 2026, Trump has totally destroyed that coalition. He had a lot of Muslim support, not anymore. He had a lot of Latino support.
know in
It's collapsed.
28.
I know. We'll see
We'll
if
know
it's
in
the same.
28,
Well, we'll also know in the midterms. But yes, that coalition he seemed to have built, that scary coalition for those of us on the left. He's his own worst enemy, Donald Trump. With ICE, he destroyed his Latino support. With Iran, he supported a lot of it, and Israel, he's destroyed a lot of his Muslim support. But I would make a wider point, which is, at the end of the day, and I say this to Muslim communities, you can't vote based just on religion or just on foreign policy. You cannot be single issue voters. As a Muslim American, you need to care about everything in America. You need to care about the economy. You need to care about healthcare. And I think most Muslim Americans do. And I think they make decisions. By the way, the big reason the Republican Party will not win over Muslims or Arab Americans in big numbers is because of the racism, Patrick, fundamentally.
That racism is BS. I don't
What?
think
What? You don't think Randy Fine's a racist?
Randy Fine's not my guy.
But he's a Republican in Florida.
No, he's to me is
You don't think Donald Trump is a racist?
not at all.
When he says to Rashida Tlaib, you should go back to where you came from. She's
if you
from
don't
Michigan.
like America, go back.
She's born and raised in Michigan. That's racist, Patrick. When I grew up, you tell someone to go back to where they came from, you start a fight.
Listen, we're both
He calls
from the
Somalis garbage.
Dude, we're both
That's racist.
You lived in UK, I've lived in Middle East, but we're both from the same area region. We are what a lot of, if we walked in the streets and say we don't have a name, they will look at us in maybe a different way than they do the average guy. You're not a white guy, I'm not a white guy. Okay. When you're talking about all this stuff, you said Muslim, people coming in here. I'll tell you another thing that is a concern of mine. I want to know what you're going to say about this. When it comes down to age for marriage in some of these countries, give you a rebuttal. I'm curious. So if a person comes from a country where, like in Sudan, the minimum age for marriage is 10 years old. Are you for that? I don't think you are. In Iran, the legal age for marriage is 13 years old.
Okay.
As young as 9 with parental consent. Are you for that? I'm certain you're not, okay? And I'm not saying you're taking these positions. Yemen, no legal
What is your
minimum
point?
wage.
I don't know where you're
Let me get to it.
going.
I'll ask you the question. Yemen, no legal minimum age. 1/3 of women 20 to 24 will marry before 18 years old. Iraq parliament in 2024 moved to allow age girls to marry as young as 9 years old under Jafari school law. Pakistan, 1.9 million child brides in Pakistan, 6th highest in the world, okay? By the way, the good news with that, I want to give that credit as well. Islamabad, Capital Territory, just changed the minimum age to 18. Good for them. They're making progress. Nigeria, over 50% of girls married before
What's
the age
the
of 15.
question, Patrick?
This is the question. Culturally, if you're coming from this environment to America, notice I didn't say every other country that's coming from Muslim. If you're coming from that culture to America, does that coincide? Because if you've lived there for 30, 40 years, and these are the values you've lived with, then you're coming here, there's a clash with the Western ideology. What do you say to that?
I will say two things. Number one, all of the social sciences show that when people move to a country within a generation, max 2, they do assimilate to local values. And I just gave you the numbers for it. Muslims in America and Britain who come from dictatorships support democracy more than non-Muslim Americans in Britain. The percentages are there. American Muslims are more open to homosexuality and the acceptability of homosexuality, having lived in the US, than white Christian evangelical Protestant. So the data shows that within generations, they do not, they do adapt or assimilate, integrate, whatever word. These are all loaded phrases. And by the way, Europe and America are different, by the way, don't forget. Europe is a very secular place. So when you're moving there, it's actually very different. America is actually more hospitable to Muslims coming from those places because we are still very much a Christian country with very conservative attitudes. It's funny, Rob's on duty, I hope still. I got a request for Rob here. You mentioned you're giving me these child bride ages. Rob, pull up American states. How many of the states in America had child marriages until very recently? What's the age of consent? What's the lowest age of consent
15,
in American
16,
states till very recently?
Like
so when
that,
you're reading out 13, 14, 15, until very recently, American states, that's now. You can see there are states that until very recently was 12, 13, 14. So America maybe doesn't get to give so many lessons on some of these things. And by the way, what is the biggest scandal in this country right now? It's the pedophile who was protected by the President of the United States. Donald Trump not just protected Jeffrey Epstein after lying and saying he would expose.
There are so many places I can go with that.
Please.
But I won't.
He also gave Ghislaine Maxwell a kind of a soft ride in prison. He also was going to appoint Matt Gaetz, a man who was accused by the House Ethics Committee of sleeping with a 17-year-old. He was going to make him Attorney General. Yeah. So please don't give lessons to other people now about ages of consent. Not you personally, but anyone in America. Let's clean up our own house.
Mehdi, the question isn't about cleaning up our stuff. God knows we have a lot of stuff to do. FYI, when people start talking about Epstein, I can guarantee you no conservative podcaster has spoken about Epstein more than us. I guarantee, just so you know, we're not one that they sit there and say, hey, we love, because they're not going to talk about Epstein. Go online on YouTube when you leave here to just gain the credibility. Say,
you're talking about cultural clashes. That's the point you're making. There's a clash of cultures. I'm saying there's not.
You and I are sitting here, we're talking. Can you and I coexist?
Yes.
Do you think you and I can live in the same community?
Yes.
Do you think you and I can live in
I
the
mean,
same...
you live in a much bigger house on a richer street.
You're a pretty rich guy, bro.
No, I
You're a
can't match you.
multi-millionaire, Doug. Like, don't act like you're a small timer.
I read on the way here in a Spectator that you have a 75 grand a week house in the Hamptons. I can't get near that.
You believe this stuff? This is all fake
It's not
news
true.
stuff that they
Not
tell you.
true.
You're so funny. Vinny, we have to make sure we don't post pictures this summer where we're staying at because Mehdi is going to be talking shit to us.
75 grand a week. Well done.
Yeah. Where were we at? We were talking about, okay, you and I can coexist.
Yes.
Why?
And my parents are from India, which has a lot of backward things going on.
But
a lot of child
you
marriage.
got a little bit of UK. You went to a good school. You went to Oxford. You
who
came
made
through
who
and
made
then-
the school happen? My parents from India.
Your parents-
They paid for it. They worked hard for it.
But you're
so they
that-
were immigrants.
It's an FYI. But, okay.
But what if Patrick Bet David in the 1960s said my dad shouldn't
Do
come
you
because
want
he's
me to
from
go
India?
to a different place? Let me take you to this next place. You ready? Okay, let me go to the next place. What religious groups that come here make the most money in America?
No idea.
Of course you do. Hinduism, number one.
Yeah.
$166,000.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, great
You know
community.
that number. Yeah, great community.
Now being attacked by right-wing Republicans in
Not
Texas.
me.
No, I didn't say you. I said
Again,
right-wing Republicans.
I'm telling you my
in Texas.
position. I know. And I have some, by the way, I have guys that are working here that say that. That's their position. But
That's
we
why
can
the
sit
Republican
and go-
Party's racist and you shouldn't defend
No,
race.
we sit and we debate because we think that's the right way to do it. Because your book is called what?
Yeah, I'm
Win
open
the
debate.
Art of
Good
Debating
faith debate,
Argument.
not
Put the
racist.
link below, Rob, so if people want to go support the book, they have it. Watch this. Hinduism, 166, $200,000. Pretty good. It's contributing to society, right?
I'm a great admirer of the Hindu community.
Judaism, you supporting of them? $115,000. You think they're net positive for America?
Yes.
Okay. Protestants, 82,500. Orthodox Christians, 78. Catholicism, 74. Islam, 68, right? Atheists are 85. Okay, they're making $85,000. And then you got, what is it? Buddhism. Man, that's a bad shout out to Buddhists.
Not
Guys, you
great-
guys got to figure
not
out a way
great
to
for
make
the
money,
Buddhists.
guys. This
They
is like
pray a
some
lot.
serious stuff right
They
there.
pray
They
a
pray a lot, yes. So to me, this isn't about skin color or racism. Like when I meet Indians in America, I got to tell you, the ones I've met, they love America. They actually love living
I
here.
get what you're saying, Patrick, but and this is a slight problem for you because you say I'm not speaking for Republican Party, but you are in right-wing media space. There's no debate about that.
I'm not debating that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're an immigrant from Iran who came in as a refugee.
I have a
So
slightly different view than
Exactly.
they do, yeah.
Exactly. So when you say Hinduism, great. Okay, go tell the Texas Republican Party. Go tell conservatives in Texas.
You know why-
Do you know? Let me finish my point. All these Hindus in Texas, well-off Hindus, they supported Trump and MAGA. And guess what? They're trying to build a temple in Houston, and people are protesting outside, saying, "Take this demonic religion outside."
Yeah.
I'm no fan of Vivek Ramaswamy, right? I've interviewed him. We had a great clash, but I do admire him as a smart guy. He succeeded in life. He's super patriotic. He's very eloquent. He's running for governor of Ohio. Did you see the clip the other day? Guy stands up in the crowd. Groiper guy stands up, says, Hinduism's a pagan, demonic religion. Why should we have you lead us? This is what the Republican Party, for you to say they're not a racist party, when I'm seeing what they're doing to Vivek Ramaswamy, forget Muslims, what they're doing to Hindus in Texas, what they're doing to Hindus in Ohio. This is a white supremacist
Racist.
party.
This is
Yes.
white supremacist.
What's your definition of racism? Is nobody racist?
No one, I think.
What's your definition of racist, Patrick?
May I finish?
Please.
You're raising your voice. Why are you screaming? I'm
know,
sitting
I'm
right
working
across
out,
from you,
working
bro.
out.
Like, let's act American, not Middle
You
Eastern.
shouted earlier, but
I
yes,
know,
do Middle Eastern.
fair enough. Okay. So to me, I think a part of it is, I think everybody has a little bit of bigotry in them, okay? Everybody. And I know it's going to sound like, what are you talking about? I think everybody is a little bit against some community. By the way, it could be as simple as, you're a Red Sox fan, I'm a Yankees fan, I can't stand you. There's no way we can coexist.
Agreed.
It could be you're from Boston, I'm from New York. It could-
Tribalism. People are tribal.
By the way, that's natural.
Agreed.
That's not like you were a kid, you were part of a gang, you're part of another gang. Hey, we're gonna
But attacking a religious minority is not.
so that's that part. The other side is calling. Like if there's one thing, like I brought the what do you call it, Westmore that we're speaking to, and I'm like, you realize, like, for Democrats, why did they lose so much of their support during this period? Let me finish, and you can argue and say we didn't. I think some of the positions they took in COVID was out of control. I think some of the positions they took with LGBTQ, to me, was out of control. Calling everybody racist, a little too much. Calling everybody a bigot, a little too much. Making everybody feel like I'm a bad person.
You need to
little
read the
too
book,
much.
my friend. These are all straw man. Calling everybody a racist. I was very specific. I said Randy Fine's a racist. I said Donald Trump's a racist. And I said the Republican Party's indulged racism and white supremacy. I can stand by those with the
Republican
receipts.
Party that racist.
If a party institutionally allows for racists to take power and do racist policies, what should I call it?
Oh my God.
Okay, let me give you one. Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now,
Yeah.
when you came to America, you came in 1990?
Yep.
In 1990, I checked before I came in. George Bush Sr. was president.
Yes.
And he allowed in 122,000 refugees, of which 4% were from the Middle East. So you and your family, how many came from your family, if you don't mind me asking?
Me, my mom, my dad, my sister, four.
So four of you were
But
part
my
of-
dad came in 84 because my parents got a divorce, and then he came back in 1990 separately.
Okay, so
We
three
waited-
of you came on that.
We did, yes.
As
We got
vetted
up, we waited,
refugees
we
from
went to
Germany.
Germany, from Germany we came
I read
back,
it,
yes.
story. You
Yep.
came in 1990. So you're part of the lucky 5,000 people
I
from
agree.
the Middle East.
I feel like I'm the
who got it.
luckiest man alive living in America.
Okay, and that was George Bush Sr.
Yes.
I'm not a man I'm a fan of, but he did that.
Sure.
He understood the response,
Yep.
as did Reagan.
Yep.
You know, Donald Trump, since October, has allowed in 6,069 refugees only. Not 122,000, only 6,069. And do you know that 6,066, 99.9% of them
Yeah.
are from white South Africa? Only 3 are Afghan.
Dude.
That's the numbers.
Are you serious? About
That's
that?
a fact.
Okay, you're serious.
Pull it up, Rob.
Dude,
6,000 refugees.
the-
all of them are white South Africans fleeing from an imaginary
The
genocide.
previous guy brought more people than
120.
4 presidents combined.
Hold on, he brought in 125,000
He's trying to say, guys,
Can I finish?
time out. Let's get
100
jobs
and-
for our people.
No, we're
a
talking
little
about
bit.
refugees. Refugees are
Yeah.
different. It's not about jobs. Refugees, your
Give me
international
specific,
obligation.
like you're talking
The refugee
H-1B,
program.
green card, which one are you talking? Okay, got it.
Refugees,
Yeah.
vetted by, the vetted program.
Sure.
Where you're vetted abroad. You check you're not a terrorist, all of that stuff.
That's
what
what we
happened
did.
to you?
Yes, 18 months
Biden did
we
it too. He allowed 125,000 people. He upped the cap.
Okay.
Trump dropped the cap with Stephen Miller to 7,500.
Okay.
And since October, he allowed in 6,069, according to the
I
Washington
want to know
Post.
where you're going with this.
He allowed in only 3 Afghans and 6,066 white people from South Africa. The 2 things I would say about that. Number one, that's racist. You let in 99.9% of your refugees are white people who are not refugees, and you don't allow people from Iran, Iraq, Syria. And the second point is, Donald Trump wouldn't have allowed you into this country, and yet you sit and support. You voted for him 3 times. Donald Trump would not have allowed little Patrick Bet-David into this country. How do you feel about that?
You're so funny.
A genuine question.
You are so funny.
It's a genuine question.
He wouldn't have let little Patrick Bennett in.
No Iranians were allowed in this year. So how would you have gotten
You know what would have happened? We would have waited 1 more year, 2 more years.
for a
until we
Democrat
did.
to come and let you in?
Bush Sr. let us in. He was a Republican.
for a better
Don't act like
Republican. Okay, for a better Republican.
No, but that's
A
not
non-racist
That's not the
Republican.
point. The part that
That is
you
the
have to-
point. He did
it's
not allow in
it's not.
Iranians,
Issues,
Iraqi-
Mehdi, is it fair to say issues are fluid? Things change. Meaning,
No, refugees are an obligation that America has always stuck to until Donald Trump.
what is an issue in 2020 may be different than what's a top 3 issue in 2016, then 2012,
Many.
then 2000.
Plenty.
Yeah, right. Guess what? What did his base want?
Who cares what his base wants?
That's who we voted for. That's
a
who we.
different argument. You're moving. Why are we talking about? Is he racist? I'm giving my evidence. He stopped all refugees
the
from
ar-
coming in from what do you call them? Shithole countries.
The arg-
itself a racist phrase. And then he allowed in white people.
Would
from
you
South
disagree?
Africa.
Some of these places are shithole
Yeah,
countries.
I don't think you call entire countries shithole.
You don't think some places
you
are
think
shithole-
generalizing about an entire place?
You think some places are not
What is
shithole
your
countries?
definition of racism, Patrick? Because you don't seem to think anything's racist. What do you define as racist?
I-
If you say there's no such thing as racism, fine, but be consistent.
No, I don't know if.
And nobody's a racist.
No, I don't know if. I think it's a weak argument. I think it's a weak position to say, hey, that guy doesn't like me and my race and where
Great,
I'm
but
from.
what is your definition of racism? If you don't have one, say so.
To be honest with you, if you want this,
I think if you call an entire country, entire people shit, garbage, low IQ, that's racist. You
Mehdi,
did that
I
to
think
Somalis.
every single person has an element of racism
with
in
that.
there.
That's a different
from 1%
argument.
to 99%.
You're moving the goalpost.
But you're asking racism. It's like not liking an ethnicity, not
Yeah.
liking a community.
Yeah, not liking
Okay,
an
fair.
entire
Is
country.
that what you're looking for?
Yeah, if he says we're going to only have white people in and not shithole country people in, that's racist. Yes, I think that's
Who would-
racist. If that's not racist, I don't know what is. 99.9% of refugees are white South Africans. Come
do
on.
Do you want to? Okay, Rob, can you do me a favor?
He calls
Can you-
all
can you do
Somalis
me a
low
favor? Can you do
IQ
me a
and
favor?
garbage.
Like this is the
That's
stuff
racist.
that you're saying right now.
It's all true.
Can you pull up Biden's administration? Who was the guy that was the transgender that we're supposed
That's what
to
you're
lead?
going to? When I quote the president making
No,
racist remarks, you got no comeback?
But wait a minute. What's the argument of DI with you that massively failed? Are you supportive of DI?
I don't know what's your definition.
Are
of
you
DEI?
supportive of
I
DEI?
don't play. This is not right wing
That-
bingo.
No.
Your words mean nothing to me. I'm from outside the right wing media chamber.
I talk to
DEA is
guys-
meaningless.
Guy, I talk to guys on the left wing side. Like, who do you think I talk? You think I just talk to right wing people?
No, but when you say DEI and the transgender guy from Biden and Ilhan Omar,
Is
this is like right wing
Is this a
bingo.
good pick?
Patrick.
Is this a good pick?
Yeah, Rachel Levine, I interviewed her on my show.
Was he phenomenal at what he did?
I'm sure she was very good at her job.
So you think he,
What's that got to do with Trump being
you
racist towards
think,
Somalis?
You think
Patrick, you need to read the book.
Wait a minute.
Because in the
wait a
book, I
minute.
deal with people like you.
This is what you
pure
do for a living.
deflection.
The difference with
you are
me is
deflecting.
this is not
Donald
deflecting,
Trump
guys.
says all Somalis are garbage,
Mehdi,
low IQ people.
allow
is that a
allow
racist
this
statement?
to allow this to
I'm not
come
talking
to
about
you.
Rachel Levine. I'm
Do
gonna
you
ask-
think Do you think?
I'm gonna answer your question.
Do you
answer
think
mine.
this person was hired because they were the best person for a job, or because he was playing politics?
Well, Rob,
that's a form of racism.
Rob, I'm going to read the second paragraph.
Go
Levine
ahead.
is a professor of pediatrics and psychiatry at Penn State College of Medicine, previously served as a Pennsylvania physician general. So I think Rachel Levine is more qualified to work in the health department than
Right.
Robert fucking Kennedy Jr.,
Got it.
who
So
has
this-
zero qualifications.
so-
You think
so-
RFK was hired
so-
for his medical
so
qualifications?
you think?
No, Patrick, do you think RFK Jr. was hired for his medical qualifications? What did he have?
By the way, do you know how many people previous to him were
Do you know-
doctors?
do you know, was RFK hired for his medical
Yeah.
credentials? Yes or no?
RFK was hired because he was making the
Whereas Rachel
argument.
Levine is a professor of pediatrics.
No,
so
no,
I
wait a
think
minute. But
more qualified.
You're saying RFK is not qualified
Not
for his
to
job.
be health secretary, no.
By a
Conspiracy theorist.
By a mile, I think.
Conspiracy theorist who doesn't even understand
You
basic
take
medicine?
a transgender to be this job, then a.
You think transgender people don't have intelligence?
No, no,
Is that a new attack on transgender?
No, see what you're doing
just
now.
went- you just
but
went-
you see what
you
you're
take a
doing now.
transgender person.
You're
What does that mean?
playing. You're playing. See the difference
So
between
are
you and
you.
I. No, I didn't go to
Patrick,
Oxford and do
Patrick,
debate
I
24/7
gave
to
you
see this as my
hard
life.
evidence
No.
of Trump's racism, and you said, Rob, pull up
Who-
the transgender woman. That's what happened. Everyone watched you do it.
but
I
the-
said Trump allowed in 99%
Mehdi, the point
white
is,
people.
The
You got
point
no
is, the
response.
previous guy picked people because of color. If there is any party that's
not even
racist,
asking about that.
was the previous guy
I'm not
because they
even
kept
asking
saying
about that.
black this,
I'm not even
black
asking
that,
about that.
black this many
I'm
female,
not
this
even
many
asking.
transgender.
Trump did the same.
The left is the party of the racists.
Even if I
you say-
concede that, it's irrelevant to my point that Donald Trump has blocked refugees like yourself. Patrick Bet-David would not have been allowed into
I would
America
find a way to get
under
here.
Donald
You
Trump.
don't know me
You would have
well
come in illegally.
I would have
So
came
you're
here
pro-illegal immigration.
You're so
This
funny.
is so interesting
I would have
today.
made it here,
Pat,
buddy,
you heard it here.
legally.
You're going to clip Ilhan
I would
Omar,
have
clip
made it
that.
here legally.
Patrick Bet-David said if he
Post-
wasn't allowed
post
in
it, have some
illegally,
fun with it. You
he
see,
would come in illegally.
The difference
You heard
between
it.
you and I, this doesn't bother me. I understand the
Doesn't bother me
game
too,
we're
that's why I'm
playing.
here.
I understand the conversation.
I'm not
that
here for
we're
a
having.
game. I just said to you earlier, this stuff has real world consequences.
Oh, this
Three
stuff has
Muslims
real
just
world
got
consequences.
killed. Three
This-
Muslims just
this-
got
this
killed
stuff has real
in a
world
mosque
consequences,
in San
just so you know that.
Diego because Republican Party racist rhetoric. And do you know what? Republican congressmen couldn't even condemn it. I assume you condemn what happened in San Diego.
We
obviously.
100% condemned it.
Do you know Republicans wouldn't do it until they were forced to do it? Brandon Gill was asked on the congressional
speak on
corridor.
their behalf.
I'm not asking you to speak.
I'm
I'm
not
telling
speaking
you
on their
it's
behalf.
bad, right?
Yeah.
That what they did, not
But
condemn
do
it.
you realize you think it's also bad that everything we had to hear in 2022 with Biden getting elected was about how many black female candidate leadership team we're going to have?
Diversity is
Who
a
cares?
good thing.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it's
it
based
is.
on based on leadership. When he was president, we're going to find a way to have
Well-
this percentage. Let me finish. This percentage of pilots got to be female and black. And by the way, Hollywood. You want to go to Hollywood? What standards they created? Do you remember the Hollywood standards? In order to win an Oscar,
That's not true. That's
Can you
bullshit.
please
It's been
pull that-
debunked. The whole, you're,
Can you pull
you're
that
just
up,
parodying
please,
Elon
what
Musk
Christopher
propaganda.
Nolan's-
This has been debunked a million
Okay,
times.
let-
a million times.
what time
and
are
by
we
the
at
way,
right now?
I got a flight to catch soon.
That's what I'm saying.
But this is an important conversation because I need you to concede that 99.9% white refugees from South Africa is a racist refugee policy.
Zero. I got
Not allowing people in from Afghanistan and Syria.
Next
is
time you
insane.
come in, don't book a flight afterwards so we can go 4 hours because I'm enjoying this.
Next time you're coming on my show, we all heard you agree to my invitation. I hereby invite Patrick Bet-David. You can bring Rob with him. If you need support, bring Rob with you.
So funny.
But we'll have you on
We'll have a
Mateo.
good time. Let me wrap it up with some one-word answers, and then
right.
let's go from there. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Since you already brought him up, I'll bring it up. So I'll give you a name.
Oh, Rob has just proved me right, by the way. 2 of 4 DEI standards. You don't have to. It's not something you have to tick some boxes.
What do you mean 2 or 4 DI standards?
Pull up the standard.
Yeah, you have to have 2 or 4 DI. They even said you have to have a underrepresented racial ethnic groups an ensemble cast of at least 30% represent from 2 underrepresented. Some of them even disability.
First of all, diversity is a good thing, especially on screen.
stop it.
I know you don't like that. I know it's a bad
Stop
word.
it.
D
No.
word is a bad word.
You know,
your people are like clutching their pearls.
You know why
right
you're
now.
here?
All,
You know why
all
you're
all the
you know why I'm
valuetainment
talking to you?
viewers are clutching
You know
their
why I'm
pearls
talking
because
to you?
Mehdi said diversity
Do
on
you
a
know why I'm
right-wing
talking
podcast.
to you? Do you know why I'm talking
Because
to you?
you needed to hear from me
No,
that you wouldn't be
know-
allowed into
do you
America
know
if
why,
Trump was president.
Do you know why I'm
you would have
talking
to come in
you?
illegally. That's
Betty,
right.
do your
I highlight the
shtick. I'll
show.
let you finish, and then I'll say. Do you know why I'm talking to you? Why do you think I'm talking to you?
Please tell me.
Because you're good at what you do.
I appreciate that.
That's why you're here.
I appreciate that.
Imagine if I said, hey, Rob, moving forward, listen, we need 3 disabled, 2 black,
not
4
what
gay,
anyone
5
does.
this.
I know you need to tell your
Stop.
audience
No,
that.
I'm
That's
not
not what
doing
happens. In fact, the person who does that is Hexeth right now. He's literally blocking black women and women from becoming generals and admirals.
You are so obsessed with Trump just asking for a job, bro. Just go and say, can I be part of this freaking cabinet?
He wouldn't give it to me
I'm
because I'm
almost
brown.
thinking, I'm almost thinking you are so obsessed. It's like, these girls that are so in love with somebody secretly. It's like that's infatuated
I
with
love
them.
that's the only argument you have.
Can I go? No, you lost
Please.
this one, but
Please.
it's okay.
No, I didn't because
I will-
technically you wouldn't be sitting here if Trump was president. You've
Mehdi,
already agreed.
I'm going to sell your book like no one's ever sold
I
your
love it.
book.
You
and
are
I'm
a
gonna
great
tell him,
salesman.
go buy this book.
I want to say
Okay?
something nice about
By
you.
the
I'm
way,
going to say you're a great salesman. Go for it.
By the way, the biggest part about this thing is I am so proud that we converted another socialist into capitalist. That is probably
You
the
didn't do
proudest
that.
moment to
I did
somebody
that on
like
my own.
you did, and I give you credit. I am so proud of you that you're
Started a
publicly
business.
now a capitalist and you're creating jobs.
You can be a capitalist and a socialist.
Can we do the one-word
Go.
answers, please? All right. Tommy Robinson,
Bigot.
Nigel Farage,
Overrated.
Sadiq Khan,
Underrated.
Ilhan Omar,
Patriot.
AOC.
Presidential.
Interesting. J.D. Vance,
Fraud.
Marco Rubio,
Little.
Little.
Trump. Little Marco.
Okay, I got you.
I want to quote my man, Trump.
I had respect. Newsom. Although Marco Rubio could be your president, by the way. Newsom.
Slick.
Interesting. Musk.
Idiot.
Bezos.
Spineless.
Spineless.
Spineless. What's the
Got
point of having fuck you money if you never say fuck you? Just rolled over for Trump.
So you just want him to
He doesn't like Trump. I prefer the people who love Trump. You know, I prefer the true believers.
Yeah.
These people who just hate Trump privately
Yeah.
but roll over for him,
Yeah.
can't stand him.
Spencer Pratt.
Pratt.
Joe Rogan.
Enigma.
Enigma.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of him. Sometimes I'm like interesting. Sometimes I'm like, what an idiot.
Have you guys ever done anything?
No,
or
I've never done anything.
Well, you would do it, though.
Would I go on Joe Rogan's show? There's a time when I said 100% yes. Now, maybe. I'd come on PBD.
Yeah.
I want
did
to
you-
reach new audience.
Why did you say you wouldn't go? You said to Bassem you wouldn't go on a bunch of different podcasts.
Yeah, I didn't say I wouldn't.
Did it
I said I
change?
struggle. Like Fox. I don't go on Fox. Maybe I should change everything. I've tried to have a hygiene rule. I talk about it in the book. Maybe I've just abandoned
I
all my
think you
hygiene
should
rules.
go everywhere. I think you should.
It's a
go
tricky
everywhere.
argument. There's pros and cons.
Do you know why?
There's pros and cons.
What's the con?
The cons are platforming people who don't deserve the legitimacy of mainstream platforms.
Okay,
It's a real
so you're such a big deal. Like we shouldn't go to all these other places because.
So, like, if I go on Fox, I'm basically telling people that's a legitimate news organization. I don't
Oh
believe it's a
my
legitimate news
God.
organization. It's a propaganda channel.
All right. Okay.
I don't want to be part of that.
Bibi.
Criminal.
Biden.
Criminal.
Hillary Clinton.
Annoying.
I'll finish with that one. That's what we'll finish with. Hillary Clinton. She got a lot of credit. Folks, this was a good conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Go order his book, Win the Art of Debating Every
That's a horrible
Argument.
cover.
Win Every Argument.
I love that
Maybe-
cover, but it can be misread. Win every argument, the art of debating, persuading, and public speaking.
put
And
the link
I've
below.
even persuaded Patrick today that
Mehdi,
he needed to be an illegal
Truly,
immigrant to get into Trump's
I
America.
enjoy talking to you. I appreciate you
I
for coming out
appreciate
and
you having
taking
me
the
on.
time.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
me.
brother. Yes. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.